Kell Brook, again, looked in brilliant condition. Even Dominic's being cagey with me, and I'm saying, what do you think? And he said, well, he's done everything in training camp, so it's just a case of what he's got left when the bell goes. I'm like, I don't know what you just told me there. Amir Khan's camp is saying another thing. Terence Crawford's come over to try and to support, but he knows Kell as well, to support, to say, yeah, we're in there. What would Amir Khan have learned in such a short space of time with Bomac? I don't think a lot. So, again, there's so many questions you can throw up in the air. But, again, I have absolutely no idea how this is going to turn out.
Just briefly before he let you go, 2 questions. Did Dominic Ingle ever down a pint of your sweat in the gym? And second question, what have we got to look out for today? What's the most important thing? These media workouts, there are either one or 2 things. Someone comes and does nothing to keep it all under wraps, or people actually come and try and show off to us a little bit fast hand. So what do you think we'll see from both fighters today? Just a little showcase, or will someone try and prove a point?
A little showcase. All the hard work's been done. Dominic's not stupid to gas Kell out. They've done all the hard work. That was on Friday. And I'm quite sure Amir Khan's team will be thinking the same thing, where we'll say, we'll cool it down and just do our thing. In regards to Dominic drinking my sweat, I watched that and I thought, that is nasty with a capital N. And so he was just laughing about it. I'm like, but he's done worse things.
Yeah.
Which I tell you off camera.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to, and nobody wants to know. I think we're all still quite shocked by that. But listen, Johnny, we're going to catch up with you later. Thank you for setting the scene. We'll bring in Head of Boxing Development and big fight commentator Adam Smith. And Adam, I'll ask the same question to you. October 2012, you sat on the ringside set and the seed was sown long before then. Did you ever think that we would get here? And now we are here. Just quite how excited are you for what is a massive, massive event?
I'm so excited, Andy. I really am. It goes way back for us. You know, when we used to work with Nassim Hamid and Johnny and Ryan Rhodes and the whole of Brendan's stable. And I remember seeing Kell when he was about 10 and he was on his hands, and he went on his hands all the way through the gym at Winkerbank. And Brendan said to me, that kid's going to be something special. And I just thought, wow. And then Amir obviously, you know, went to Athens and won this silver and was this protege. And then they sparred and the sort of rumours from that. Then we had them on the ringside set. There's been times where we've tried to make the fight. Frank tried to make it. Eddie tried to make it. And they've gone in different directions. And finally, it's happening. And I'm so excited. Yes, we wanted it 5-6 years ago, but now it means so much to them because it's all about this fight and the synergy of Kell Brook. And they've trained so hard, Andy, for this. They've trained like it was more than a world title fight because neither want to be the loser come Sunday morning, and they have to live with that for a long time. I think it'll particularly hurt Kell if that's Kell. So, look, he's taken himself away to Fuerteventura. He's got into phenomenal shape. He's back with Dominic, but then Amir has had the hardest camp he's ever had, and I was with them both last night. Okay, but they're both smiling. They're happy. Look, wait till you see them. They look fabulous.
Well, let's be honest, all eyes perhaps be focused on Kell Brook and the weight. That is a whole other narrative that we... Well, you stood in front of him. Look, we don't know what he's going to weigh in this ring today, but it will be the first time for everybody on Fight Week in the flesh. Yes, we've seen interviews with him outside the Winkerbank with our colleagues at Sky Sports News, but let's have a look and see what he actually looks like.
I'm telling you, I think the weight's fine. 149 is the agreed weight. Obviously, that was always going to be tough for Kell, naturally bigger guy. And, you know, there's contractual problems. It was difficult getting that side of it sorted on the deal. But it was, and Kell wanted the fight so badly that he took it at 149. And I think that he's weighing around about 152, 153, you know, 48 hours before the weigh-in. I think he's absolutely right. And I don't think, Andy, that's going to be a big issue.
Okay, so you can see that the Trafford Centre here in Manchester is filling up nicely. It is going to be standing room only, and it's going to be 10 or 11 deep. There's no doubt about that. As you can see in the Team Ibrahim Nadeem, who we interviewed in the gym yesterday, at Ricky Hatton's gym. He's a local lad.
It's great that Ricky's got a fighter on the show.
Yeah, all sort of parallel there, isn't it? It's going to be a very emotional night for Ricky coming back to the Manchester Arena, the MEN, as it was when he was boxing. And Yeah, I would have thought it would be a very emotional night for him. It should be every time he comes back. But
I think that still remains probably the standout night in Sky's boxing history. Of course, we've had Lennox Lewis unifying the heavyweight titles. We had Naz against Kelly. We've had Froch Groves, AJ, Klitschko, so many. But I think for a lot of us, that night when Ricky beat Costa Tzu at 2 in the morning, June the 5th, 2005, for everyone that was lucky enough to be there or who watched it, was a very, very special moment. There was no more popular fighter in our time in boxing, Andy, than Ricky Hatton. And to come back to the arena that was his, that he made his own, that we had so many wonderful nights, and especially that crowning moment for him and Billy Graham when he forced Costa Tzu to retire after 11 rounds was something special, and that still holds for me a very poignant moment. And I think for him, he'll love it. And I see Anthony Croller down there. Anthony used to sort of sit in the back of the Manchester Arena watching Ricky. Then he had his time in the arena under the lights, and Amir's had ups and downs in the arena. He got blown away by Bradis Prescott, then he came back and he beat Andres Kotelnik, Marco Antonio Barrera. There's been some great nights for him in there. And I think, look, there's been fantastic nights for boxing generally. And some great stories. You know, Calzaghe's probably greatest night against Jeff Lacey. You've had the Froch Groves one phenomenal fight. Nigel Benn, Eubank, everybody's fought there. And I think, you know, it's a terrific arena. Mike Tyson, of course, against Julius Francis. So Manchester's going to be alive on Saturday, and the electricity is going to be phenomenal. And I hope Ricky just gets a thunderous reception when the fans see him, and I no doubt he will.
Let's have a word on Ibrahim Nadim. Ibby, we'll call him. 5'10" bantamweight. I mean, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
Towers over me, and he's making super bantam.
Tall and wiry.
Yes. And I no disrespect to Ibby at all, but he's one of those that loves his fists to do the talking. He doesn't quite like the bright lights in the interview setting, but he's coming along nicely now. 5 fights, 5 wins. There aren't any stoppages in the column, but he is a very, very tidy boxer. He's got good people around him. You can see Blaine Eunice, that is there, putting the gloves on. Blaine will actually be in Bradley Ray's corner as well later on in the evening. You can see Stingray on the back of his shirt there. And Ibby was a very, very good amateur. And as you've already touched on, he's looked after by Ricky Hatton as well. And he's coming along nicely. He's in a 4-rounder against Taka Bembere. That'll be part of our Facebook live stream early in the evening.
Well, the first thing I'd say, Andy, is it's a wonderful opportunity for Ibby and all the young fighters on the bill.
Can you just imagine being that age and you get to box on the Kell Brook undercard?
Do you know what? We're excited, so are they. I had breakfast this morning with Fraser Clark and the Azim brothers, and Adam and Hassan they just want to lap it all up. They want to take it all in, and I think it's a really good opportunity here for Ibby to showcase his skills. As you say, he's undefeated, but the most important thing is that it is a learning curve. It's an education. He'll never have experienced anything like this. It is, you know, the Trafford Centre today. There's hundreds of fans who've come in for the big occasion, and just to be selected to be on that card is pretty special. So he's going to really enjoy it. He's got to obviously focus on his job in hand, but he's got no one better than Ricky, who obviously, you know, came through the system and then ended up fighting and headlining at the big arena shows to encourage him and to guide him.
People think that amateur boxing and professional boxing is a smooth, seamless transition, but the blunt truth is they're two very different sports. Ibby's been very open, and the people around him, that the transition is taking time. You go from a very stand-up, point-scoring amateur to people looking for knockouts in the entertainment business side of the sport, but he's very, very well schooled. You can see from his work on the pads here, he's a very, very good technical stand-up boxer.
He's crisp and sharp.
You think?
Yeah.
At 22, the man's strength is still not there yet, and it seems like we're almost sounding critical for the lack of stoppages, but that will come in time, I'm sure.
Let's be honest, you take one look at him, he's not going to be a bantamweight for long, is he? You know, he's going to go up through the weights. There's no question about that when he fills out. But look, it's, as I said, it's education, it's early days, and you've got to experience these to have a workout, you know, live on the stream and cameras everywhere and photographers. You know, this is big pressure, and he's just got to concentrate on his own career, but also take in, you know, I don't know, Michael Buffer's in tomorrow, and big names are coming, and there'll be, you know, Carl Froches and all that. There'll be a lot of people he's looked up to and seen on these big story occasions. And of course with Ricky, and he needs to, you know, he needs to spend time with them, chatting to them, feeling what it's like, just getting the experience. So when it comes to whether he gets to British, European, world level, whatever level he gets to, he'll be able to handle the occasion much better. It's all about learning.
We should say that in terms of what Amir did for British Asians as an Olympian, he set the tone even on this card. You see Ibn Nadim and both the Zine brothers, who I'm sure will tell their own story later on about sitting ringside and seeing Amir and doing it, thinking, yes, we can do it as well. And those roots are already starting to grow.
It's the encouragement, isn't it? The inspiration. I've just seen Paul speak as well here. He's been part of the Ricky Hatton story for 20, 25 years. He's with Ibby, so that's all really good. Here's Charlie Schofield in the ring. What an opportunity for him. Good English title fight. Very much looking forward to this. You know, there's a couple of very tasty, we call them trade fights, Andy, on the card. You mentioned Brad Ray earlier, and that's what we want. We want local fighters, opportunities for the unsung heroes, as well as the stars, the bright stars of tomorrow.
Okay, so I do know a little bit about Charlie because Kevin Marie, his manager, bumped into me outside a notorious fast food outlet earlier in the day. I wasn't...
Were you not partaking?
No, but not many people will believe me at the moment, but I wasn't partaking. But he said that Charlie Schofield is the nicest guy in boxing. He's too nice. He needs to get a little bit...
been with the nicest guy in boxing. His name's Anthony Crawler.
Yeah, well, he's got a rival in Charlie. Okay. And again, I feel like I'm standing in a hole, but he's 6'3", super middleweight. He towers over almost everybody that he fights. He's a very passionate Man City Blue. He's no Aces fan. Another one that walking out of this arena is just going to be incredible.
Shall I tell you now then that we're expecting a fair amount of the Man City players and some of the big names to be ringside on Saturday night, so that would just give right.
Yeah, well, I saw Raheem Sterling had FaceTimed Amir yesterday, and Raheem went on to score an absolute worldie, so success is obviously breeding success with those two.
I know the Liverpool players are all wanting to be there, but there's
here he goes.
There's a final the week after, so I think Jurgen's doing the right thing after the Norwich game, keeping them in. They'll have to watch it on Box Office.
I didn't know that you were a Liverpool fan. You never mentioned it.
We'll get one or two from Gillingham there as well, Andy.
Say no more. So Charlie Schofield, you can see he's training there. Robert Rimmer, son of Bobby Rimmer. My lord, how many Ricky Hatton links are we going to do today? Bobby, great pictures of the night, the famous Costa Zoo night, as he's the one that noticed that Costa Zoo is being pulled out. Robert doesn't look any older. He's very much a Benjamin Button character. And they've got high hopes for Charlie. I was reading Charlie's notes. Lists amongst his favourite fighters Lennox Lewis for his jab. And you just think, looking at him there, it'd be silly not to use his jab. The ring that we're in today, he could effectively be standing on the opposite side and touch Jermaine Brown on the head if they were fighting in there today. He's got an extremely long reach. Just one blemish on his record, which he has avenged as well. He was part of the inventive pandemic boxing series where Dennis Hobson had some car park fights outside.
Oh, that was good fun.
Yes. I'm not sure Dennis had banked on the weather that he had to get through, but very well done to him and everybody that was involved in those promotions.
Absolutely, and, keeping it all going.
Yeah, very much so. So I tip my hat to them. And Charlie lost to Jordan Ellison on that fight, which he has since... Mickey Ellison, sorry, Jordan Ellison, what am I talking about? Mickey Ellison, which he has since revenged. He learned his lessons. What he went away showed was that he can learn from his mistakes, and he put it right. These two are pretty evenly matched, you would say, Schofield and Brown. Boxing News rankings, which are the Bible of boxing for us almost.
It's a good fight, Andy.
Yes, Schofield's at 14 and Brown is at 18. We probably know a little bit more about Jermaine Brown simply because he's been one of the success stories of the Splash Boxing Boxer Link Cup so far. He's impressed on almost every single card that he's boxed on. But this is a really, really strong trade matchup. And
you can see that jab, you know, that's obviously the big weapon that Schofield brings to the ring. I love the fact that he looks up to Lennox Lewis. I think the jab is such an important weapon, such a such a tool, and it sets everything up. And certainly for the bigger guys like Lewis, the heavyweights, Larry Holmes, just what a jab he had. And I think it's sometimes not talked about enough. You see the way he's shaping up here, Schofield. Obviously, he's just looking to ram that jab in each and every time, and it's being clever with it. It's doubling up with it, and I think it's a good fight, this, with Jermaine Brown.
Yeah, well, let's just give a little shout out to English title fights. I mean,
well, we had a cracker, didn't we, in
well,
Cardiff?
I challenge you to name a bad one, really. Who would have known that if you put two hungry prospects in a ring for an English title that it wouldn't deliver? You know, they really do, more often than not.
We used to say this, Andy,
fireworks.
we used to say this about the British title, and the Lonsdale belt still has something very special about it. We had those cracking nights with Moore and Macklin and Alex Arthur and Michael Gomez and Derek Roach I was in contact with the other day, and his fight with Scott Dixon. Great British title fights. But I think the English title, it's a real stepping stone now. I think when it first came, people were thinking, well, you know, it's not the British. And I think now it's a very important for these guys who are just trying to get up and into the lights. And maybe they've been a bit lost, and the pandemic's not helped, so they've been, you know, just scrapping around, trying to get fights, trying to get work. Now they've got something to really aim for. I think it's a really important belt, and I'm really glad, because we're getting these 50-50 matchups, and the fans are loving it.
Yeah, very well said, and long may it continue. And the English title is just so good to see. It means so much to these two fighters. So
where's Bobby Rimmer?
I'm looking, and I can't see him. I thought he would be here today, but one of the funniest men in boxing. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, if he's one of the nicest guys in boxing, Bobby Rimmer definitely one of the funniest. I agree with that.
Yeah, I think we need.
Love spending time with him.
Although there's a fighter's code that Matt Macklin can never tell the stories publicly, so it's perhaps this conversation.
He's told us privately.
Yeah, it's a conversation for another day, no doubt. So Charlie Schofield just wrapping up his workout here, the 28-year-old from Ashton-under-Lyne, they announced him from. I have to make this very, very clear. He wants to be announced from Droylsden, so we need to make sure that we keep him happy. Droylsden, Charlie Schofield. Either way, he's a local lad, and this will mean a hell of a lot to him. 18 fights, 17 wins. There is just the one knockout in the 17 wins, and a lot of that is probably down to the level of opposition he's faced. No disrespect at all, but fighters that know how to survive and not get stopped more often than not survive and don't get stopped. And he's been in with his fair share of those. Just the one loss, like I said, that he has reversed. Done 101 rounds as a pro, debuted back in 2014. So he's not a fresh face novice. He's been around, he knows the game, and I'm sure when we get a chance to speak to him afterwards that this will be the platform that he feels can be the launch pad onto bigger and better things.
I think it's the platform that everybody wants to be on. It's the big box office night, it's the sparkling attraction. We had a fantastic night in Cardiff, we've got one coming up in Glasgow, sandwiched in between. But this is one of those special nights. It's an incredible sort of main event for so many reasons. You got Tasha Jonas going for the world title at her third attempt, which is a terrific story, and a great chance for all this young talent to get a big viewing audience and see what it's like to taste these nights under the biggest and brightest of lights.
I could see, unless my eyes are deteriorating even more, that over there behind that white pillar, Adam, if you come to me, is Mick Jelly, Amir Khan's amateur coach.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And
good to see him.
Really,
lovely to see him.
Really
and he's very near Joe Gallagher, who also has spent a lot of time with Amir Khan. But yes, you're absolutely right. There is Mick, who deserves so much credit for Amir's path to the amateurs and the Olympics. Just waving at him now. I don't think he can see us over here, but Mick Jelly, fantastic to have him ringside for the workouts. He'll always have a special place in Amir's heart and the great things he's done around Bolton. Charlie Schofield really going about his work and concentrating on really getting the precision of that lead left hand.
So Mick Jelly, that is leaning over the barrier there. I've got a great story about Mick. Amir has always looked after him, and he said to him, I want you there, ringside on the night. My first Amir Khan fight in Vegas, I went to do Amir Khan against Devon Alexander. Amir was insistent that everybody went to the after party at Hakkasan nightclub. I took Mick Jelly with me. We got to the front of the VIP queue, and no disrespect to Mick, you can see that he's an elderly gentleman. They wouldn't let him in because he didn't have his ID with him. I think he was 80. But he was happy. He was happy. Great guy. Really
lovely story. I seem to remember there was also something back at the Mandalay Bay involving a lot of food that night. But that was a wonderful performance from Amir against Devon Alexander. I think probably his best ever, although...
They say the Zab Judah performance as well. It's a toss-up, really, you can say.
No, I think the Devon Alexander.
Okay, so just while Charlie makes his way out of the ring, hopefully he's going to make his way up onto stage and join us.
Please welcome Christian Namos.
You can just see, whilst we wait for Charlie, Chris Namos is making her way into the ring. Two challenges, obviously, for this vacant world title. She will face Natasha Jonas as Charlie makes his way to join me. Charlie, just on that mark there. Charlie, they weren't joking. 6'3" at that weight. You can stand on the opposite side of the ring and touch Jermaine Brown on the head. Is the key to use your natural advantages here, your long levers?
Yeah, definitely. I feel that's what I'm best at, so that's what I'm going to put to work. I'm going to stay long, box nice, and yeah, it's going to be a good night.
I just want to get it from you. What does this mean to you to be on this platform? You're a Man City fan. You're a local guy from Droylsden. Kevin Marie made sure that we got that in from Droylsden, not from Ashton-under-Lyme. But to come out of that arena, I mean, Ricky Hatton's boxed there. Oasis have played there. Probably going to be Man City players at ringside. For you, what will that mean when you hear your name at the top of the ramp?
This is massive. This is massive for me. It really is. I mean, like I said, I'm from Manchester. Every time I go out in town, whether it be for a drink, a bit of food with the missus, or I'm going shopping, I drive past the MEN, and every time I'm just thinking I'd love to fight it there one day. And the fact I get to do it on a card like this, I'm over the moon. I can't wait for it. I'm going to thrive off the atmosphere in there.
Being on the card is one thing. Being confident that you can win the fight is another. Jermaine Brown, we know a little bit more about him because he has boxed on the Boxer shows under the new deal with Sky Sports, and he has impressed. What have you got to do to beat him?
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight. Any fights for titles are going to be challenging. This is going to be a tough fight. It's going to be a great fight for the both of us, great fight for the fans. And, you know, I'm not going to give too much away, but we've got a game plan there that's set in stone, and I'm looking forward to putting it to play.
Don't often get said about you, but to me about fighters, but Kevin Marie and Robert Rimmer, your coach, say he's the nicest guy in boxing. If anything, he's too nice. Would you accept that? Have you got to get that sort of cage lion mentality a little bit, or will it not matter on the night? You will have that devil, respect stops at the first bell.
Listen, you know, it's great that they say I'm a nice guy, and, you know, I like to think that I am as well when I go about my business, but you know, Saturday night, I'm a different animal when I'm in there, and I can't wait for it.
What will it mean to you to be English champion finally?
Everything. I'll be defending that on Saturday night. I can't wait for it.
Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy it, and I wish you all the best of luck with it. Thank you very much. You can go off the way you came on, Charlie. Top man. Okay, so I'm very interested, Adam, because you again have had a little bit of advanced knowledge.
Yes, I have.
With Chris Namos.
Yes.
What an interesting story.
So Chris, I met her over breakfast actually yesterday morning, and had a good chat with her. Her English is not incredible, but she speaks enough, and she is a fantastic story. So she's a commentator for ESPN on Latin America. She actually called the Clarissa Shields Emma Cozen fight and the Chris Eubank Liam Williams fights for Latin America a week and a half ago or so, and she's had a week's notice. She is a proud, tough fighter, but she is an absolute sort of little superstar in Uruguay, bit of an icon. She's good friends with Emerson Gavani. He's apparently trying to come to support her at the fight, and she's a real character. She's a massive advocate, obviously, for female boxing, but she's a bit like Clarissa. She wants to do lots of different things, and yeah, she's just really excited to be here. She thinks that Tasha's made a mistake because of the weight, She thinks that it's just going to be too much for her. And it's a big ask, climbing up 3 weight divisions. But, you know, Tasha has the skill set, so it's all a case of whether Tasha can stay on the outside and get in and out, and she should be too good for Namus, but it's the size.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because you set that up quite perfect there. There's weight classes for a reason. This isn't Natasha Jonas' natural weight class. She may well have the amateur pedigree, the better skill set, the better wins on paper, but she is stepping up into the unknown. And then you flip it. Chris Namus has been a world champion. Natasha Jonas hasn't. She's boxed on big platforms before. She will come over, I'm sure, with a pretty fearless attitude. That's basically everybody that spoke to her so far. Is she's thriving under the bright lights.
She says she wants to be an absolute monster in the ring, but she wants to be beautiful outside it. She's an absolutely lovely lady. She really is. And she's come over here, not with a big team or anything, at short notice. She's very comfortable in her own skin. She's obviously very popular in Uruguay. And because of this ability to be a TV pundit as well, you can see what she's sort of made of. And she can fight. It's a good package.
What about Tasha Jonas? Because I might lose you shortly. You might not be around for when Tasha Jonas is in the ring, but it really does mean that much to Tasha Jonas, and you do get the impression, I don't say it lightly, that if she's going to win a world title, she's going to win a world title before she leaves this game, it probably has to be on Saturday night. It is now or never.
Let's be honest, Tasha Jonas is the darling of British boxing. You won't find anyone that doesn't like Tasha Jonas, and she's tried so hard. She's had a very, very prestigious amateur career. She's always been in the shadows a little bit. That fight with Katie Taylor she had at London 2012 was immense. The fight she had as a professional with Katie Taylor was immense. I thought she beat Terry Harper in the Garden, and I think she deserves this more than almost any other fighter, another opportunity. Ben Shalom promised that he'd get her the world title fight. It's come at a totally different way, but it is the opportunity she's got to seize now. She's now part of Sky's team. We talked about how Chris is, works for ESPN. Tasha's very much part of the Sky talent outfit now, but she doesn't want to rest until she's become a world champion. This is the chance, this is the stage, now she's got to deliver.
Adam, if you don't mind, I'm going to get you to hand your microphone over to its new custodian of...
Can I introduce him? The great Dave Caldwell. One of my great friends in the game. Nice to see you, Dave.
Nice to see you too, mate.
Well, Dave, talk about a man that has a little bit of an inside track on this main event on Saturday night, having been a former trainer of Kell Brook. That, and the fact that you probably know Amir Khan as well as anybody else. Same question, people are getting bored of me asking it. Did you ever think that we would end up here on fight week, that this fight is going to happen? Everything's crossed, we've wrapped it up in cotton wool, but did you ever think we'd even get to this part?
Do you know what? To be fair, you always hoped, and even when I was training back in the day, this was the fight that was always talked about. It's been talked about for years and years. I'm trying to figure out how long it actually is since they started being on this collision course.
I think Boxing News ran an article when Kell Brook was 1-0.
There you go. So there you go. Yeah, that's a long, long time ago. But I got to the point where when people were asking me, "Oh, Kell versus Khan, I was like, listen, I don't want to speak about it. Don't ask me about it, because I'm bored of talking about it. Because there were so many false dawns and high hopes that kept getting squashed. People in talks. And I just gave up on it. I thought, it's not going to happen. If it does, I'll believe it when it's signed, and then I'll get excited. Well, when it got signed, I got excited. And now we're here on fight week, and we're at a public workout, and I'm looking around, I'm looking at everybody hanging over the balconies. You've got so much crowd here, excited and with anticipation, people stopping here and talking about it. It's here, and I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait.
What's your assessment of what you've seen from both guys so far? Look, everything that's been released is very choreographed.
Yes.
Nothing's been released that shouldn't have been released, that they don't want you to see. From what I've seen, they both look like they could not have trained any harder. With first-hand experience, went out to Colorado Springs to see Amir, and he could not have worked harder. They put him through the ringer. Same with Kell Brook. You know that when he's with Dominic Ingle, that is a strict training camp. He's working very, very hard. What you've seen so far, not just fight week, but in the build-up, has your opinion been swayed at all?
It keeps going left to right, right to left.
It
generally does, because I agree with you. There's so much pride and so much at stake. Forget about the money. Listen, they're going to make an absolute fortune. We know that. They're going to make millions, right? But they've already got millions. You get a point where certain fights come along in your career where it's not about the money. You want it to be about the money when it's negotiation, because part of that's pride, where you want to make sure that you're not taking them for granted, and you're not seen as the B side. Sometimes you have to give up. But when it comes to the fight itself, there's so much pride, so much at stake. Forget about what they've done with their careers. This fight is what people will talk about in this country. It won't be about Amir Khan fighting Canelo, Kell boxing Golovkin, Bolton being world champions. Nobody will care in this country. It'll be about, yeah, but you got beat by Kell, or you got beat by Khan.
I put it to Johnny, it's the title of each other.
Yes.
I mean, that is a scary thing. Kell Brook scared me on the gloves off, where he said, I have to walk with my head down for the rest of my life. I mean, talk about pressure. Talk about putting pressure on your own shoulders. I mean, Amir is a very good talker, and we spoke about the gloves off already about, he knows exactly what to say. But Amir Khan's under pressure as well. He knows that everything he's done from the Olympics onwards doesn't matter if he doesn't beat Kell Brook. That's scary. Okay, Dave, I'm just going to pause you there, because in time, Chris Namus with a translator. Chris Namus via a translator hopefully will be coming to join us, or not, or not as is. Unless she's coming the long way round, we're not going to hear from her just yet. But Dave, I'll bring you back into the hot seat. So Bradley Ray, I mean, he's given us no option. He went on the Matchroom fight camp, but it wasn't fight camp. It was one of the bubble shows. Demolished Lee Cutler in an unbelievable performance. Then he went on the Boxer show against Jez Smith in a Fight of the Year contender. He's given us no option. He's forced boxers' hands to put him in the main show. And there's a lot to like about him. Have you got any dealings with him? Are you familiar with Brad at all?
No, I saw the fight with Jez, because that was a fight I was all looking forward to, because we all know what Jez brings.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable fight, wasn't it?
And you knew it was going to be a good fight, and it was a good standout performance for him. Somebody who's auditioning really, to be a part of the stable and to be a part of what's going on at Sky Sports and Boxer. It couldn't have gone any better for him, and you know that because he's here now.
Yeah.
And you know for a fact he's going to go full throttle to go out and grab his opportunity on Saturday night. It's the biggest stage he's ever going to have had in his career, and potentially he's ever going to have. So he's got to go out there and grab it.
There is a link to your training days of fighters boxing in their hometowns, just how it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
How on earth do you want them to enjoy it and almost take the positives of such an environment in a stage, but not for it to consume them and for them to box with a hot head and for them not to stick to a disciplined game plan. Brad Ray, I have to say, with Blaine Nunes, doesn't strike me as that sort of character at all. But if you could pass on any words of wisdom, what would it be in terms of trying to keep a cool head in a hot kitchen?
You see, that's the thing, is we all want to box at home in front of our hometown. Packed out arena, everybody singing your name and screaming your name. But with that comes the pressure, comes the weight of expectation. And for young fighters and fighters haven't quite got there yet, it's a new thing. Now add that to the main event that is on as well, and the glares of the... You know what makes a big difference as well? It's things like us guys here talking about him in front of a camera, on a mic, the camera spotlights on him. That also burns energy. And if you try to impress, that is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I try and say to my fighters, because you can't tell them to ignore the crowd. I like them to enjoy your ring walk, soak it up, enjoy the ring walk. The minute we get into the ring, switch on, forget about the crowd. Don't try to impress the crowd. Don't respond to the crowd. It's all about you, him, and listening to your coach.
So Brad Ray is taking on Craig McCarthy over 8 rounds at middleweight. McCarthy, he's not here today, but we will see him tomorrow. 9 fights, 8 wins, 2 of those inside the distance. He's just got the 1 draw. And you have to tip your hat to the matchmakers. Again, it's a very, very competitive fight on paper. First observations from Brad Ray in the flesh. He's a tall lad with long levers.
Very tall, very, very long levers. And that gives him a lot of advantages in his fights. And he's got some pop about it. So you don't have to be a one-punch knockout merchant, but when you can have a little bit of a dig, and you've got those physical attributes, it makes it very, very hard for a majority of your opponents to get on the inside. Because everybody says, oh yeah, you need to get on top of them, you need to get on the chest. But to try and get past those levers is quite a dangerous thing.
A very funny quote that he says that he must stop looking for a dust-up all the time. And that is the one thing. Why is it that naturally tall fighters with long levers want to try and have a dust-up and fight on the inside?
I think, do you know what? I think because mainly there is this perception that, you know, tall fighters, once you get on the inside, you can beat them and they can't handle it on the inside. Sometimes pride wants them to get on the inside and prove you wrong.
Dave, I'm just going to pass your microphone over because we are actually now going to talk to Chris Namus and with expert translator Joe Forbes. Chris, just come and stand on this mark for us on the floor here. Christian. Okay. Hola, Christian. Joe Forbes is going to help us translate it. Just how happy are you to be here, and what does this fight mean to you?
I am really happy. I think this is a big opportunity for me, and I do everything for win this fight.
Do you know much about your opponent, Natasha Jonas? What have you seen of her?
Yeah, I see 3 or 4 fights about she, and I think she's really good opponent, and this is better for me. I am good boxer, good technique, she and me, and I think this is perfect for the big show.
Just finally, how confident are you that when you wake up on Sunday you will be a world champion again?
I am, when I say yes for this fight, I only think I am can win.
Yeah.
And I think I win.
Very good. We didn't need the translator. Hablas inglés muy bien.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
No. No, let's not get into that again. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego. I mean, I said I'd never speak Spanish again, Dave, and that just proves why I should never speak. No.
You're getting to be an expert.
That proves why I should never speak Spanish again.
Perfect.
No, she speaks better English than me. So Christian Namus, she'll be taking on Natasha Jonas. They're both the challenger for the vacant WBO title on Saturday night. Third time lucky, Natasha Jonas will be hoping. But back to this one in the ring. Bradley Ray, he's got some fans here today already. He's a boxing nut really, because I see him at every single show. He's always there. He loves it. He's a very articulate young man. He only seems to be in very, very good fights.
Yeah.
And he's a welcome addition to the boxer stable. And if I could use it in a positive term, he's got the perfect style for television. So we've got very, very high hopes for him. So that's Bradley Ray.
It looks very comfortable in the situation here, because I know it's just a public workout, but when it's new for you, when you're not used to a big crowd like this, even just training in front of a big crowd, hitting the pads in front of them, you get a little bit nervous. You can become a little bit within yourself. But he's enjoying himself. He's looking out into the crowd and he's letting it flow. You know, it'll hold him in good stead when it comes to boxing under the bright lights on such a big event on Saturday.
Yeah, and he's only 23 as well. I mean, he's got so much time ahead of him, but if he carries on sort of the trajectory that he's on, and I know that Craig McCarthy will have very, very different plans from that, and certainly all the Irish fans that are watching this will be thinking that we're not giving Craig enough time a day, but we know in the trade that this is a very, very good fight. It's a very, very live fight.
Yes,
I'm not going to go as far as say 50-50, but I don't know what it is. It could be anything. It's a very, very good fight on paper. Dave, I'm just going to ask you to hand over custody of the microphone to Anthony Crolla, Manchester Zone. Who's going to come and join us shortly. Dave, thank you very much. Anthony Crolla, delighted to see you here. Before he wraps up, just give us a little bit of an inside knowledge on Bradley Ray from a Manchester fight scene perspective.
Yes, Brad Ray I know very well since he was a chubby 12-year-old boxing in schoolboy championships, and no, I genuinely mean it. It makes me really proud to see him on this stage. He's a lad who used to come out with his club, St. John's, you know, supporting me in a big way. He's got a great mother and father behind him, and him and Blaine have started something, well, from the start right through now. It's a great journey they're going on, and he looks a prospect for real, and I rate him very highly. I see, when I look at Brad Ray, I think he's very, you know, it's high praise, but very Callum Smith-esque. Yeah,
okay, so straight away, not just, you know, neither will thank me for it, but facially they do look similar. There is a likeness there, but in terms of his size, his stature, the way he shapes up, there definitely is a bit of Callum Smith there. You can't deny that.
There is, and for such a tall fighter, just like Callum, he fights very well on the inside, hits the body well, and you just did the little reception he got then. He'll sell a lot of ticks, and he'll get a great sport on there Saturday night.
While he's making his way up to us, you know him on a personal level. Every time I see him, he just seems to be loving it. He just seems so happy all the time. I see him at every show. He's a bit like yourself. You see him at, 9 times out of 10, he'll be ringside at a show, beaming smile on his face. He's a real fight fan. He lives
the life of a fighter as well. He loves the sport, and he's just always looking to improve. A real student of the sport as well. And like I say, I think it's great to see young fighters like that getting this opportunity.
Just finally, for someone like him, you had it. Boxing at the MEN, the Manchester Arena, as a Manchester-born and bred fighter, it must just mean something different to you.
It means the world to us. Like I say, I grew up there even before Ricky. You know, your Joe Calzaghe's, your Nazim Ahmed, some of the greats of British boxing at the arena, and then obviously our own Ricky Hatton. So to fight there, being big fights there on that night, it was living the dream.
But he is just about to make his way up on stage. So Anthony, I'll stay with us because I'll come back to you. But Bradley Ray is just making his way up onto the stage now. Bradley, good to see you. How are you? I mean, I've never not seen you smiling.
Yeah, I'm happy, mate. I'm happy. It's fight week. You know, it's finally here. It's been a long time coming, and you know, what a better place to do it than in my hometown. You know, on the biggest stage possible. You know, it's a massive fight on Saturday night, and you know, I'm just privileged that I'm involved in it. You know, I'm part of it, so you know, I'm happy.
You've given us no choice. So the win over Lee Cutler was explosive. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. I know you felt very confident that you could do something like that. Then the last fight against Jez Smith, it ended up on Facebook. We've all learnt a lesson there. Fight of the year contender. You've given Boxer and Ben Shalom a headache. You can't leave you out anymore. Presumably that's exactly what you want to do every time. Give me the platform and I'll deliver.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. 100%, that's it. You know, I've had a few people asking this time when I'm going to be on the card or whatever, and you know, obviously I'm not sure yet, but you know, it doesn't matter to me. You know, like I said, this is huge. This is on a massive stage in my hometown, and you know, if I'm on a little bit earlier again, so be it. You know, I'll make you regret it again. And, you know, next time, you know, I'll win my way up the card.
No, you're higher up the card this time. You gave us no option. Tell us what you know about your opponent and what sort of fight we can expect.
Yeah, so he is undefeated. A bit older than me, a bit more mature than me. You know, my team have actually been up against him before. So his one draw on his record was against a former stablemate of mine. So Blaine and Ricky have been in the corner against him before. You know, they've had camp against him before. And, you know, although it was a draw last time, it's going to be a different outcome this time. You know, I know his game, and I know that he comes to fight, and, you know I do.
Well, I'll leave it at this. I don't want to do you down because you might listen back to this later and hear me say it. You've got the perfect TV style. We love it because 9 times out of 10 we know it's going to be entertaining. I've also read the quotes from you that you said, maybe I should not get in so many dust-ups. We don't really want to hear that.
I say that now. Wait until I'm in that arena and, you know, there's 20,000 manx on the feet.
Exactly. Blaine Eunice isn't close, so he's not going to tell me off. But when the lights come down, it is just you and him. It's good matchmaking again, we feel. What sort of fight do you think we're going to get?
No, I think it's going to be exciting. Again, you know, I've shown in my past 2 fights, no matter what it is, no matter what I offer, it's exciting, whether it's round knockouts or, you know, fight of the year contenders, like you say, you know, so whatever it is that I'm going to bring on Saturday night, you know, people are going to want to tune in.
Brad, you're a top man. I wish you all the best on Saturday. Go well. Thanks very much. God, very nearly got left hanging there live on TV, which nobody wants. Okay, so if you are just joining us, this is the media workouts, the public workouts for Khan versus Brook at a stacked, packed out Trafford Centre here in Manchester. The main event fighters aren't even here yet, but it's, I don't even want to say how many deep it is. The balcony's full. It really has caught the imagination of everybody, and it sets us up perfectly because Hassan and Adam Azim are two very, very bright prospects in the game, and I know that they would have been desperate to get on this card. And you can see Hassan Azim on the pads here with Josh Pritchard, and Anthony Cruller is back with us. You're on the fight scene, so I'm always interested. How much word gets around about the Azim brothers? Is it one of them that there's that north-south divide, so you don't hear too much about them, or is the word already got around that both brothers are very, very good fighters?
The word has got up north, both very, very good fighters. I'm a big fan of both, and I think we seen last time out when there was both on the show at Wembley, they really made statements, the pair of them, and I see how highly Shane McGuigan and Josh, who's in the ring with him now, speak of them. That's a very good team, and to speak with the praise that they do shows that they've got very high hopes for them.
We were talking earlier about Ibi Nadim and the transition from amateurs to pros. People just expect it to be seamless, but it isn't. One thing I would say very, very quickly is that both Hassan in the ring and Adam seem to have made that transition, and not completely, but they're making that transition pretty seamlessly. Why do you think that is? Is it down to the trainer? Is it Shane McGuigan knows that he's renowned as a very good pro trainer?
I think Shane's a fantastic coach, and that could be a part of it, and probably is part of it. But also, I think a lot of that depends on the amateur background, and do you know how long you stayed amateur for? Was you on the international setup? How they had you boxing? Whereas I know Ibe, he was very much computer scoring for a good while. Whereas I think these two boys, I think they was always suited a lot more to the professional ranks.
So Hassan, 21-year-old from just down the road from me in Slough, 1 fight, 1 win, 1 KO. All the sparring stories, Christ, I don't want to go there sparring stories because they mean absolutely nothing, but we know that they mean everything, especially
at
with
the
this
same time.
But everybody that has been in with him says he's very, very heavy-handed.
Heavy-handed, sharp. I'm not sure it was both. Was it Asim or Adam? I remember reading a story that Shane said just how well he was doing with Luke Campbell, who's unbelievable fighter.
So that was Adam.
That was Adam,
and I think that's where they first raised some serious eyebrows of, wow, he really is going to be a talent coming through, and I think they pretty much earmarked him from then.
Yeah.
Hassan, very, very dangerous ground that I'm treading on here because you're comparing brothers.
Yes.
But I think if Adam has the more all-round game, Hassan has the spiteful punch power. I don't know if I'm going to upset a few people by it. Probably, the people I'm going to upset are probably the brothers. But I know that Hassan is renowned as a very, very spiteful puncher.
I think you can see that on the pads here. I know they're only touching at times, but Hassan, you can see very, very sharp. Leverage again, someone taller, but the leverage gets behind the shots. Very sharp, you can see.
So he's taking on MJ Hall. It's 4 rounds at welterweight, and anybody that knows Matt Hall,
very tough. I know Matt well.
Very tough, and it would be a bit of a statement if he could get a stoppage.
It would be,
Hassan. I mean, that's terrible that we're already talking about when he wins, but let's be honest.
No, he's expected to win and expected to win his style.
A job booked in 2 weeks after. He doesn't want to get stopped. He's going to aim not to get stopped, and Hassan, I know they're going to... Rounds is no bad thing at this stage of your career, but at the same time, he's going to want a stoppage as well, because that is a little mini statement.
Without a doubt, I know Matt very well and how proud he is, and there's very few who do manage to get him there side of the distance. You say, he'll have the tag as a journeyman, but he's someone who takes that very serious as well. Very rarely do you see his fights go early, so, to get the stoppage, it'd be huge.
While you're here, because I don't know how long we're going to have you for before we lose you, it's so distracting here because you look down and you just see people. Fraser Clark, what an imposing figure. He's just walked into the room and he's wearing his Del Boy trotter.
Yes.
You can't see him at the moment, he's down at ringside, but he is a big presence, but he's also got his Del Boy trotter coat on because he is a huge Only Fools and Horses fan. But what an entrance. He really does look the part. And there is something about the heavyweights. Just as he's walked in there, he's just a little bit of an aura around him. What a big night for him making his professional debut on Saturday. There he is, Trotter's independent trading, just with his back to us there.
Absolutely huge. I mean, listen, you've got to remember, Fraser, I think he was like Captain Marvel in those Olympics. And it was brilliant the way he got behind each and every boy and girl. You know, he was representing GB, perfect captain, but he also medalled there. So, listen, he's probably not got time on his side, but it's going to be an exciting journey, and it's good to get it going on Saturday night.
Yeah, lazy comparison, but Joe Joyce is someone in that mould that turned pro later on and is in half a rush, and they can rush it because these guys have got the proven amateur pedigree. So Fraser will have that. I'm sure that Saturday will be to ease him in, but they are going to want to take him faster than you would say, a lightweight prospect, for example.
Without a doubt, they've got to fast track Fraser because the time isn't really on his side. But then at the same time, you look at some of the fights he's been in his amateur, the level he's been at for so long. I mean, if it wasn't for Joe Joyce, or maybe Anthony Joshua, you never know, he might have gone to the Olympics before. So he's been around a long time, a quality operator, so you can match him tough.
Well, stay with us. I'm just going to steal your microphone because Hassan Azim is going to join us very quickly. And it's quite a nice segue. Hassan, great to see you. How are you, first off? How is everything?
No, really great. I'm really, really excited about this. It's a good turn up. I had to be on the undercard of two great fights, Amir and Kell Brook. It's just a privilege. It's like a dream come true.
Yeah, no, set that up for us because we're going to get on to your fight on Saturday later on in the night, but I can't remember if it's you or your brother sat on your dad's knee, the photo that's doing the rounds.
That was my little brother. Yeah.
Amazing. If I put it like this, what does Amir Khan mean to you, and how much of what Amir Khan has done has been an influence on what you're doing now?
So, when I first started boxing, my first ever video I ever watched was Amir Khan. And all I ever watched was Amir Khan when I first started boxing. And don't get me wrong, Kell Brook is a great fighter too. I've seen some of his fights, but that's been up to a couple of years. But Amir Khan has inspired me and motivated me to do boxing. And I remember he came down to Slough once and he signed my gloves. I was only like 12 or 13, and I had to be on undercard for him. It's just great.
What's that going to be like, do you think, when you're standing at the top of the ramp, 22,000 sellout, it's a big platform. You struck me straight away as the sort of character that is going to thrive under that. It isn't for everyone, you know what I mean? There's a lot to be said for going 10-0 on non-TV circuit, but this is a big platform. How do you think you'll feel just before you ring walk?
No, I love it. Like, being in front of thousands and thousands of people will improve my performance, and I'm really, really excited. I'm not really nervous at all. Just kind of wait, and then it's just such a big blessing to be on Sky Sports on the undercard, and to be fighting on the Sky Sports box office as well on TV channel.
And are you enjoying I'm going to use the word fanfare, but in a positive way, the fanfare that's around you? If I had £1 for every time someone said the Azim brothers are the next big thing, I'm not going to say I'd be a rich man, but I'd be richer than I am now. Is this a pressure that you're welcoming? You've got pretty broad shoulders, but there is a little bit of pressure on you now because that reputation is following you around.
Well, listen, I've got a lot of fans, and the fans love me because of my performance, and I will show you this week what my performance is like. I'm going to box, and if stoppage comes, it comes. If it doesn't, I'll show you how you properly fight.
I need to be honest because you might watch this back. I said to Anthony Crolla, when people talk about your brother, they say unbelievable technician, totally all-rounded. When they say you, they say he's a savage puncher. He's very, very heavy-handed. Is that an insult, or is that going to cause a rift between the two brothers? Should I have stood further away when I said that?
Nah, Adam knows that I punch harder, but Adam, he hits hard too. But with Adam, it's like when you're chopping a tree down, at the end of the tree, it will fall over. That's what kind of fire Adam is. Like he'll use his jab and lay on the ground, you'll feel it, and then right at the end, he will chop you down. And with me, it's just if I land the perfect shot, you either get hurt or you're going to go down. I just need time that one shot and that's it.
Just on your opponent, MJ Hall, Matt Hall, he's a tough man to stop.
He is, yeah.
So how much in your mind is, I know Shane McGuigan will be saying to you, look, rounds is no bad thing. Don't rush it, take your time. But because of the platform and what's at stake, are you going in there with you want a stoppage?
No, you know what? My pro debut, I went in there trying to box, and like I said, a stoppage will come. For MJ Hall, he's a tough man to stop, but I have believed I have the power for it. But I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take my time. And again, if I land that one shot, let's see how he will take that.
And are you okay boxing on the same card as your brother? it might be one of those that it'd be weird not to box on the same card as your brother, but can you not worry about what he's doing and focus on yourself, or have you always got one eye on what he's doing, and same with him?
Adam knows what he's doing. You know, I'm just focusing on my side. But Adam, we're both in it together. I know me and him, we train hard for this fight. So we really leave nothing behind. So we're walking in that ring thinking we've done everything. So now it's just a matter of time to fight. That's it.
Hardest question till last. Main event then, Khan v Brook. Who wins and how?
I say Amir Khan, because Amir Khan's got the speed. And I believe everyone's saying it's too late, but I reckon it's going to be a great fight. Don't get me wrong, Kell Brook is a good fighter, but Kell Brook, he's got all these other problems with ice hockey and things like that. I believe that Amir Khan will beat him with speed.
Hassan, thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you very much.
Wish you all the best on Saturday and look after yourself. Go well. Thank you very much. Just final word with you here, Anthony Crolla, before I let you go.
Yes.
He's a great talker, Hassan Azim. He's under no illusions that MJ Hall's a very tough prospect.
Yes.
But whenever you speak to a young man like that, there's a twinkle in their eye that they can't help but want to go out there looking for the stoppage. So I don't quite believe him. But just a quick word on Amir Khan's legacy. There's a great picture, I don't know if you've seen it, of Adam Azim sitting on his dad's lap in the front row.
Brilliant.
What Amir did for British Asians and people coming through, you can see that he planted those seeds and the roots have grown into the Azim brothers and many, many other fighters. But the Azim brothers to sit there and say, one day I'd love to do that and to box on Amir Khan's undercard. Amir probably doesn't get enough credit for what he did as an Olympian and coming through.
Amir Khan's massively underappreciated, and sadly he always has been. But like you say, what he's done for young British Asian fighters is it not only inspired a generation, and not, I mean, just any young amateur boxer, but generations to come as well. You know, I think Amir's paved the way for so many, and he needs a lot of credit for that. You know, all world titles aside, great fight aside, which has probably helped to pave that way. That's, for me, is one of the most important things.
Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to take that microphone back off you and welcome back Adam Smith, who can just give us a little bit more meat on the bones with Adam Azim particularly. We've just spoken at length about Hassan there, but I think that there is a hell of a lot of excitement around the Azim brothers, and I know we're all getting very excited because that's what we do. But if Shane McGuigan comes to you and says this guy is going to be the next big thing, you do have to take some notice.
Shane McGuigan is one of the best trainers in the world, and he has seen a lot of fighters come and go, the likes of David Hay, Lawrence Okoli he's got now, and George Groves, loads of other fighters he's had, really good fighters, and Barry's seen a lot as well, obviously. Shane is under no illusions. He says this is the best prospect he's ever had. He thinks he's going to be a multi-weight world champion. And look, we all get excited, of course we do, and the proof is in how he develops. I very much like the family. I think they've got some real maturity amongst them. They're a close-knit group. They've got a big following. Adam is frighteningly talented. Hassan is heavy punching. They're great guys. There's no reason why we can't watch their stories develop into something really, really flourishing. It is early days, but I think Adam Azim is potentially the best prospect in the UK.
I put it to Hassan there, though, that there is a lot of pressure. It's a Sky Sports box office card. They're relatively high up the bill, certainly as Adam, and they're going to have huge support, and they're going to want to shine. There is some pressure there.
Just thinking, Carl Frampton's another one, of course, they've had some wonderful fighters in the McGuigan stable. Adam told me he was going to do something a bit special in the ring today. He wanted just to get noticed, so he's going to do some cool skipping tricks. So have a look at this. You might want to get your cameras out because this is pretty impressive. I remember, Andy, when Floyd Mayweather used to jump rope in the early days, and people hadn't seen anything like that, but this guy's pretty good. I've seen him do a few tricks before, and he wanted to do this for the fans.
Yeah, you don't need me to talk over that. Wow, that was impressive. That was impressive. Very good.
Yeah, he's a really likeable guy. They both are. I think they're going to take Bend Boxer going to take Hassan a little slower, but Adam, I think, can be fast-tracked. I think he won so much as a youth amateur, and they wanted to turn professional. He's only 19. He's got so much ahead of him.
Adam, I'm just going to welcome Adam Azim up to our interview position. Adam, how are you? I won't keep you long. Thank you very much for joining us. We are live on Sky Sports. That was very impressive. We got word that you were going to do something for the fans at the end there. Very cool. Very cool. Very good, skipper. Just how much are you looking forward to Saturday night, and what do you want to show us?
Just can't wait for Saturday. I've been working really hard, and this is where my time to shine and show a lot about me. I'm finding a lot of people, and I just can't wait to get ready.
Your brother, if anything, he doesn't lack any confidence at all. He was like, this stage suits me. 22,000 sold out. Amir Khan's undercard. Your thoughts on that? What will it mean to you to stand at the top of the ring walk there with a sold out Manchester Arena and everything that's at stake in the main event, but focusing on yourself? Just what do you think that will be like? Have you dared to imagine that yet?
I've been dreaming since I was a kid. Like first time fighting on Sky Sports box office and fighting in front of 23,000 people. It's a dream come true, because I was back in 40 years ago, ringside at Amir Khan. I was only 5, and I said to my dad goes to me, "You're going to fight here one day." But 15 years later, 14 years later, fighting on the same undercard as him, and I'm fighting in the same arena. So that just shows a lot what it means to me as well.
Just one word on that. Have you posted that on your social media? I've seen it doing the rounds. So we want to push people to your social media. Check it out. It's a great photo. What are your memories of that night? Were you too young to remember it now, or do you have some memories of it?
I still remember that day, because I never thought, I looked up to Amir Khan, and now I'm fighting on his undercard, so it's a privilege. So everyone go check that out, because you guys will see the picture of me and my dad when I was young, and then you get to see the whole process, how it developed.
Always in the business of getting you a few social media followers. So what's your Instagram and Twitter accounts?
Adam.Azim1 on my Instagram, and Twitter Adam Superkid, and then Facebook Adam Azim.
There you go. Look, I've done my job for you. What about Saturday night, your progression? What do you want to show us? What do you think that you've gone away and worked on from the last time we saw you? Shane McGuigan tells us big things are coming.
Yeah, 100%. I even watched the previous fight I had in November. I walked away from it. I learned a lot from there. Now you guys are going to see a more developed me. I want to take a bit more rounds in to showcase my skills, and then hopefully take him out. That's my aim. Get a great KO win.
Your brother didn't sit on the fence, so you have to give a prediction as well. The main event, how do you see it going?
The main event, Khan versus Brook. My opinion, Amir Khan all the way. I believe Amir Khan. It's a 50-50 fight, but I believe Amir Khan all the way, and I'm going with my boy Amir Khan.
And for you, the important thing is get in, get out with the unbeaten record intact, and your brother as well?
Yep, 100%. Me, Hassan, want to get a KO win, entertain a lot of people that day. Hopefully you guys going to get to see the flip, but there's a new trick coming soon, but I ain't going to show you until the fight night.
Really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us. Go well. Look after yourself. I'll grab that microphone back off you. Thank you so much. Okay, I mean, a man that really doesn't need too much introduction. The captain, Fraser Clark. Big Fraze is coming Saturday night. The professional debut, the long-awaited professional debut of Olympic bronze medalist, former Team GB captain Fraser Clark, and we cannot wait, Adam Smith.
We cannot wait. He is one of the most popular figures in British boxing. He was a standout amateur, of course. Captain Team GB in Tokyo. He's been around our shows for so many years. We all feel like he's our friend, and Fraser is a great signing for Boxer and for Sky. I think he's got huge ambition. He wants to be the heavyweight champion of the world.
He leans over the ropes and he looks at the three of us and says, finally.
And you know, he's always been in the shadow a bit of AJ and Joe Joyce, but it's Fraser's chance now, and obviously he's a bit older, so we'll probably have to take him slightly quicker, but he's done everything as an amateur, so the time is now, and the heavyweight division is in a fascinating state, as we know. The higher echelons will work their way through the Furies, Joshua's, Usyk and Dillian and Deontay, but I think, you know, in a couple of years when things have changed a bit, it'll be interesting to see whether the likes of Joe Joyce and Big Fraser will come through, and how far can he go, Dave?
Yeah, trainer Dave Caldwell, just bring you in here. Adam asks, how far can he go? And I'd like to add to that, the differences in training a heavyweight compared to other people. I've always been told, famously told by Jim McDonnell, you can't train a heavyweight like anybody else. They're completely unique. So for someone that trains a heavyweight, so Adam's question is, how far can he go? And my question is, what's it like training a heavyweight? In which ways is it different?
Well, for me, it was very, very vertically challenged. It's very, very hard, trust me. No, you have to train them differently because obviously they can't do a lot of the dynamic stuff. It depends on what sort of shape they are physically, naturally as well. But also, heavyweight boxing is completely different to middleweights or any other weight. In terms of Fraser, he's so experienced. And not only is he experienced in his fights, he's been around sparring the top guys for a lot of years, you know. I had recently had him sparring with Derek Chisora before the Parker fight.
What was that like?
It was good. It was really good sparring. You would have paid to see that. But he is, you know, he can see him. His brain's ticking in there. He's not just going to go out there for a slugfest. He's going to look to set things up. He understands that in the professional game with those little 10-ounce gloves, it is different to the amateur gloves, the head guard. He understands that. So you can't make the mistakes that you sometimes can get away with in the amateur game. You know,
Could you say that there? Those little Reyes gloves on his hands, they just look tiny. It actually scares me.
Yeah, they're very. I often think that when you're putting these little gloves on the big guys, you just think, wow, can you imagine getting hit by them? It's just frightening. But you know, Fraser, for a big guy as well, he works the body really, really well. You know, obviously you expect him to have a good jab, a good right hand, but he does work the body very, very well. And we all know he's very, very tough. I mean, I remember going back years watching his fights with Joe Joyce. They were fantastic fights, unbelievable chin on a pair of them. And you look at where they are now, and you know, Fraser at the beginning of his career, Joe's trying to break in onto that world scene and get the big fights there. The heavyweight division is going to change. The landscape's going to change very, very soon because you look at Fury, he's only got a couple of fights left. You know, because it's through choice. I mean, what else is there for him to do? You know, AJ, I know he says he's going to box for another 4 or 5 years, but I don't really know if that's going to be the case. Who's coming through next? It's an ideal position now for somebody like Fraser Clark to be in, to learn his craft while all the focus on the big names, your Tysons, your Furies, your AJs, your people like that, Usyks. Let him focus on them while he's learning his craft now on these shows. Get him out regular, get him out learning. You know, you're going to get a couple of blowovers in heavyweight division. You are going to when you can carry some weight in your punches. Those preliminary fights, you're going to. But he needs to have the fights where he's going to learn on the job. So he's in a prime position that when those have gone, he's ready to take over and be the star in the division.
So we all get so carried away because we've worked with him. I don't think he was a teenager when we worked with him, but he was certainly in his 20s. He's only 30, so yes, he's had a lot of amateur pedigree, a lot of amateur fights. Yes, he's done a hell of a lot of sparring, but he is only 30. How quickly can they move him? I used the example with Joe Joyce earlier. Joe Joyce was someone that Sam Jones, I think it was David Hay was involved at the time. They wanted to move him very, very quickly, and that's paid off. You know, he's flourished. You know, he hasn't really looked back. With Fraser, it's going to be a difficult one. We do need to rush. There's going to actually all the focus will flip back onto the matchmaker now. Surely there will be a lot of pressure on getting it right.
Yeah. So with Joe Joyce, I believe the reason why they rushed him is because number one, his age, but number two, he's got a unique sort of presence about him. He's relentless. He's very relentless. There's not many heavyweights that can cope with his pressure, so he can allow him to do because of his toughness, and he takes the shots so well. His style of boxing can allow it to be rushed a little bit more. With Fraser, he's a little bit more conventional, so you have to be a little bit more careful because he will, you know, he's got to learn more about the defensive side of things. You know, in sparring that I've seen before, he does take the odd shot, so he needs to tighten that up a little bit, and that needs to be done in time in fights as he's being built up.
I'm nervous for him, and this is terrible because we are completely neutral on the night. We can't have bias. But I think anybody that watched the Olympics, I think anybody that has followed Team GB's journey, anybody really that's followed AJ's journey, I know he won't thank me for that, Fraser, because he's very much his own man now. But in terms of Team GB, he was the captain. He was the man that you saw him on every ringside shot of the McCormack's fight. Galal Yafai, I'm sure he would have loved to have been here. he was there for everybody else, and I know that everybody now is on his own journey. He's going to want to be behind him. There are those nerves because it's the heavyweight game. My God, I'm coming out with all the cliches today. One punch can change it all in the heavyweight game. I just hope he gets everything out of the pro ranks that his efforts deserve.
Yeah, definitely, because like you say, we've known him as a personality. Forget about the boxing, man. He's been doing security around the boxing.
I know. It's very difficult for me not to be biased because he saved me from many a ringside skirmish when he's been. Let's put it that way, where he's been looking after us.
And he used to enjoy those skirmishes as well. I remember it well. But yeah, he deserves everything he gets because he has got a good heart, and like you say, he's a leader. He isn't just a captain where you give a label to somebody. He is an actual leader, and that's how he's been with everybody and supporting everybody's careers. So now it's his turn. Now we want him to do well.
We'll bring the undefeated 6'1", please welcome Vidal Riley.
Okay. So here comes Vidal Riley, and it seems like a pretty good time to bring in Joe Gallagher. Joe, I don't want to talk all over Vidal Riley's moment, but why I've got you, we'll talk to you later, but third time for Tasha Jonas. How are your nerves? I mean, I think everybody else is pretty shredded. If she's going to win a world title, if she's going to get what she wanted from this professional game, all arrows are pointing towards she's going to have to get it done on Saturday.
She is, and it's amazing. It's nearly a year ago we fought behind closed doors against Katie Taylor. We're back here now, and the electricity of the crowd, you can just feel it bristling in the air. There's something big about. We've had pay-per-views in the past, but no one in the pubs ran home to watch what was on. This is the old type pay-per-view where I'm off, the boxing's on, we're legging home. This has got to do great. I'm excited for Kell Brook, never mind Natasha Jonas. But for Natasha, obviously her first world title was at 9'4", then 9'9", now 11 stone. It's a huge fight, difficult opponent, good opponent, former world champion, and huge motivation for her to become a two-time world champion. She's a good fighter if you've seen her on the pads before. This is no gimme. She's been in 5 world title fights, been a world champion herself, acquitted herself very good against Cecilia Brackhouse. And I've said to Natasha this week, stay off social media, stop listening to this, oh, you've got this, you've won this, third time looking, all that. Goes out, you've won nothing, so your hands raised. Yeah. So you've got to stay focused.
Because my question to you would be, you would think amateur pedigree, technical ability, from what's available to view, I'm sure, I know what you're like, you will have seen every single second of Christian Namos's fights that are available, but it looks like technical ability, amateur background, it's all in Natasha Jonas's favour, but there are weight classes for a reason. 100%. She is stepping up into a weight category really that is fraught with danger. What have you done with her? What is Natasha Jonas going to weigh, for example? Is it one of them where you don't want her to put on too much weight?
No, exactly. Now, I remember years ago, John Murray used to spar at 10 stone 2-3, brilliant. Then he'd spar at 10-8, 10-9, was sluggish and one of the worst. And I've said, Natasha, just because it's 11 stone, it doesn't mean we have to be 11 stone. You're performing weights 10-3, 10-4 when she got in the room with Kater. That's at her best. So we've got to put 3 or 4 or 5 pounds to get inside the limit. But there's no need us having to get up to 11 stone because it's extra weight. It's like putting a weighted vest, a stone weighted vest on you, and ask you to have the same legs as you did at 9'4", 9'9", and she can't have that. So she's got to hydrate well. She doesn't have to hydrate, to be honest, Andy. Do you know what I mean? She's just turning up and eating what she wants, do you know what I mean? But you've got to look at this girl as well. It's a distance fight. She's gone 10 rounds to Cecilia Brackhouse. It's distance. So in sparring, Natasha, because we were trying the big bombs, Natasha, you're not a bomber. Show me you've knocked out, you've stopped kids, but you're not a bomber. This girl's been all the time, boxing. She's a middle lane, what I call a middle lane, throws lots of punches, steady punches, but she isn't an outside lane fighter, which is 100 miles an hour with power shots. And she isn't a slow fighter which takes her round off. She's just steady every minute and every round, and she'll make you work. And that's what Natasha's got to. Natasha's a concentration. Don't rise to the crowd. You got to remember, Natasha's 2 world title fights have been behind closed doors. Yeah. First time for a crowd. Last time she was in a crowd this big was Olympics 2012. So here we go, 10 years later. This time, hopefully, 3 times a lady. She gets the job done.
Joe, I wish you all the best. I'm just going to pass that microphone back to Adam Smith while we've got Vidal Riley. Joe, good to speak to you and wish you all the best. Vidal Riley now.
Vidal Riley, what a great story.
Yeah, this is hugely interesting and a huge interest to me because if, like me, you were a boxing fan who resented KSI and Logan Paul and Jake Paul coming into our sport and causing chaos. That's the first time I got to meet Vidal Riley as coach. It's time to forget all of that now. Vidal Riley is a professional boxer. Yes, he has a huge online following, and it's the realist, his catchphrase. Everybody knows him for that, but this is professional boxing, and he's here to show everybody that actually I'm a professional boxer first, and everything else that comes with it shouldn't be forgotten, but I'm a fighter first, and that's what he wants to show us on Saturday.
Well, there was a big debate, wasn't there, about the whole sort of YouTube entry into KSI, Joe Weller, and obviously we covered KSI and Logan Paul. We had a lot of fun with it, and we opened our eyes and saw what Instagram following does and YouTube, and it was very exciting being around it. Commentating on KSI and Logan Paul alongside Bazinga and Joe Weller was a real eye-opener, and I got to know Vidal during that. We all did, and what I found very quickly is that fighting is first and foremost for him. He wants to be a boxer. He wants to be a great fighter. He's learnt in the Mayweather gym. He's excited about his career, and he does want people to take him very, very seriously. So he's unbeaten. This is his pro debut, so to speak, in the UK. He's in with an old campaigner who, we've seen before. So good yardstick, and I think only his 5th fight. And for Vidal, it's an opportunity to show us what he can do in the ring as opposed to online. And we know how much of a character he is. We know what a big following he's got, and that's a great start. But let's see what he can do in the ring. I'm excited about Vidal because I know how keen and hungry he is, and I know he's got ability.
Yeah, so we put out a really nice piece not so long ago of Vidal watching some of his amateur footage back, and you just got to look at what he achieved as an amateur. West Ham ABC, wore that vest with so much pride. 7 national titles, junior European silver, qualified for the Youth Olympics where he reached the quarterfinals. He's capped in England.
Yes, some real pedigree before all the YouTube and KSI stuff even occurred.
And whilst I can't say that I know how Floyd Mayweather operates, I don't know there's many people who lay that claim, but Mayweather Promotions wouldn't just take on anybody for the sake of taking anybody. They saw Vidal Riley as a prospect, and that's exactly what it is. He's only 24. I think a lot of people view him as slightly older than that, because again, he's been around on that scene for a long time.
And he'd have learned a great deal, Andy, out in the Mayweather gym with the likes of Badu Jack and all the stable.
Andrew Dabiti,
with him. And I think that he's come back here. He wants to set his career up in the UK. He's obviously, as we've said, he's got the eyeballs on him. So it's a case of knuckling down and really making a career of it, and not just sort of playing at boxing. You can't do that. He's had the experience of being a good amateur. Don't waste that. You know, he's, as you say, he's still quite young, so time to get some fights, some regular fights, some momentum, some hard sparring, some good opponents, good choices of opponents, and who knows where we'll be in a year and a half time with him. It's going to be a fun story.
Yeah, and you mentioned his opponent, Wilberforce Shehepo. He's someone that we do know pretty well. Callum Johnson stopped him, but it wasn't the easiest of nights. But I do have to say, open brackets, Callum Johnson was suffering from some personal tragedy around his life at that time, and it's a difficult one to gauge, that one. I remember, I think I watched him against Arthur Abraham. I don't want to say how many years ago that was, but he took his licks against Callum Johnson, who's very, very heavy-handed. Father Time catches up with everybody, though. It'll be interesting to see how he looks, certainly at the press conference and the weigh-in as well. But Vidal wants a stoppage. He made no secret of that. He wants to come out, he wants to show people. One of the things that you're going to see this week, he said, you can love me or you can hate me, but I want you to respect my skills.
Well, that sounds like a man who wants to be a fighter, and I think that's the most important thing for him. It's almost like we love him on social. He's got that charisma. He's working alongside us now, and long may that continue. But it's a hard business, boxing, and he needs to be laser focused on what he can do in the ring. And I think he's excited about this choice of opponent because okay, he's old, but he's been in with some very, very top names, and he wants to move in that direction, you know, and show what he can do against fighters that people have heard of, but not just, you know, the average journeyman, I think. As you know, we don't know Father Time. It may be he could get that stoppage on Saturday night. But for me, it's about Vidal getting back in a ring on a big show and doing something other than, you know, just holding a camera and talking to a camera, which he does so well. It's about what he can deliver in the ring. You can see there that uppercut. You know, he moves well. He's got a nice right hand. He's got a loose style. You know, he could be something pretty good.
So we really look forward to seeing Vidal on Saturday night. He'll be ring walking to his own tune. And yeah, we've got high hopes for Vidal.
Well, you want him to do well, don't you? He's a real nice guy. He's a character, and because of this following, people are going to be interested. So if he can back it up in the ring, he's got the whole package.
Just set the scene. Welcome, if you are just joining us, to our live stream of the media workouts for Khan versus Brook.
She is the former WBA International Super Featherweight Champion.
Just making his way up onto the stage now.
Please welcome
Big Praise is coming on Saturday night. First off, is this your ring walk gown? This is in honour of your love for Only Fools and Horses. Are you going to wear this to the ring on Saturday? Or you got something else planned?
No, I'm not. This ain't coming to the ring with me. But I didn't have another opportunity to get it out, so it come out today. You know what I mean?
You leant over the ropes at the start of your workout and you just went, finally. I mean, how do you feel now? What's going through your mind? What's your mindset ahead of Saturday night?
No, it's here now. It's real. You know, it's been a long time coming. You dream of, you know, these days, and I've been at a lot of them working or just as a fan. It was unbelievable to be there under the lights. You know, I didn't have to throw a punch before I started sweating. The nerves came just from these people here. But it's fantastic, you know. So happy to be here. So happy to see so many people came out for the workout, and I feel good. I can't wait to get started.
You seem in a great sort of frame of mind. I just want to put it to you. For so long, you've been the captain. You've been everybody's rock. They've been the ones that got a problem on GB, go to Big Praise. One of your colleagues or your teammates is having a fight, you're ringside. You're the loudest shouter in the room. Now it's your turn. How do you feel about being the main man and having your opportunity now?
Yeah, you know, I'm still the captain. I'll always be the captain. I love that team. I love my teammates. But now it's about me. You've got to focus on myself a little bit. Very individual now, single-minded. I know where I want to go in the sport. I know what I've got to do. I've got to be selfish at times. It's very lonely, but I'm willing to go for everything I need to go through to get to where I want to be.
You will have a set of goals that you want to get out of Saturday night. What are they? Presumably it's to get some time under the bright lights. I'm sure you'll want a stoppage as well. I'm sure there'll be a part of you that just wants to soak up the atmosphere. 22,000 sold out at the Manchester Arena. Would have been very easy, well maybe not for you as an Olympic bronze medalist, but would have been easy to turn pro a lot further down the card. You know, maybe with a little bit less expectation, but that doesn't seem to be the way that you want to do it.
No, you know, like I say, this is what I do. It's my job. Whether they put me at the beginning of the card or main event, my objective is to get in there and win and hopefully knock someone out. That's the way I want to do things. The pressure, it's a little bit nervous. Of course it is. I get nervous every time I go to the ring. I need them nerves. I need them butterflies. I'm going to make them work for me on Saturday. My biggest thing is do not trip on the ring walk. Get in there and do my job as a boxer.
Listen, you've been around pro boxing, either ringside or sparring pros. How do you think you've adjusted behind closed doors in Loughborough to making that transition from amateur to professional? And what do you think that you want to show us? We know a lot about you. That's one of those things. You've been on our screens for a long time now. Are you going to be showing us anything different, do you think, now you're a professional?
I'd like to say wait and see. But what I've done over the last few months is, what people need to say is, I went straight back to training probably 4 weeks after the Olympics. Not training super hard, but I was learning. It was all a learning process. I went to Loughborough. I worked on my craft. I know how to change as a fighter. I'm trying to do that, and hopefully you can see a few of them skills that have transcended over the last couple of months on Saturday night.
I reckon you got 300 tickets, didn't you, from bench slots? That means that 90% of Burton aren't going to be there. So just a message for everybody back home that supported you on your Olympic journey, and now they're going to be supporting you on your professional journey, which starts on Saturday night. Big phrases coming.
Yeah, Burton and Swaddling Coat, you know, they really got behind me. I think we could have done 3,000, let alone 300. I'm feeling the love, and it'd be good to see local faces. Come on, let's get down here, have a good time. All have a drink, have a good time. No fighting. And kids, Mila and Trent, love yous both.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's a great public service announcement there. No fighting, he said, definitely. Go well, big praise, take care. Okay, so rolling subs now. We're just going to bring up Vidal Riley onto the stage as Tasha Jonas in the ring behind us. Vidal, great to see you. How are you? Fight week is here. I know you've been counting down the days. Now it's here. How are you feeling? You just had a little shake out there and
what are you
a chance
thinking? Was I looking a bit slow in there?
No, not at all. Far from it. But we have got, because of what you've said and because of the high expectations that you've set for yourself, there's going to be a hell of a lot of eyes on you on Saturday night.
Well, that's what we want, man. Like, all the people here, they're here to be entertained. They're here to have a show. And that's what I want to provide. I want to provide a show. I want to obviously get the result, which is a win. But it's also about making sure the people that come out and that have supported me in all these years since I've been last in the ring, giving them what they've been waiting for. The anticipation's been built. Now it's time to go.
It's a little bit of a second debut for you, really, because you're looking forward to getting that momentum back. What do you want to show us on Saturday night, really? If you got down to the boxing side of it, Wilberforce Shehepo, he's been in with very, very good fighters. He's at the tail end of his career now. What do you think he's going to bring and what do you want to show us?
I know that he's a tough opponent. I know that he's an opponent not many people are taking their fifth fight, which is why I decided, I want to fight him, because I want to prove myself. I want to show that not only am I building towards higher levels, but that starts from now. I want to put in a clinic. I want to put in a performance. If I can get the knockout, of course I want to get the knockout. I think that'll be a big statement because it's taken people longer than 6 rounds to get him out of there that are higher level. So if I can do that, I know that will prove a point. But overall, it's about enjoying it, man. It's about having fun. Like, I've done the hard work in camp. This is the performance. This is the fun bit. And you'll see that from the relaxation, and hopefully I get that knockout.
Yeah, we're starting to get to know you because of the amount of work you're doing with us at the moment. You spent your life with cameras around you and the bright lights. How do you think that you will feel? Will there be nerves just before that first bell rings and it empties out, just you, your opponent and the referee? And by that point, there are going to be, let's just say, tens of thousands of people in that arena, and all eyes are going to be trained on you. How do you think the nerves will be? Nerves are good.
The only time I get those nerves is when they rush me out the changing room, when they run to the Riley, time to walk. Then I'm like, ah. And then after that, literally, as soon as I hit that ramp and I hear my music and I'm walking down, there's no nerves. It's just time to enjoy it. I've been doing this my whole life. And, to be able to be given the opportunity to be on a platform like this, it's all I can ask for, man, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Before I let you go, I've been bigging up your ring walk tune because you told us it's one of your own.
Yes.
Here's your plug for it. What are you going to be coming out to?
I'm going to come out to a song called On a Roll by me, myself. It's going to be on a mixtape that's coming out the week later, Friday the week later. So just promoting the music and enjoying myself and having a good time, man.
There you go. I'm probably getting myself in all sorts of trouble there, but thank you very much. I'll take that microphone from you. Vidal, go well on Saturday night. Vidal Riley, part of our Sky Sports box office undercard. The undercard to Khan versus Brook, where we are at the Trafford Centre. If you are just joining us now, welcome. Where have you been? What could you possibly have that's kept you away from this? And as you join us now, you can see that Tasha Jonas is just going through a little bit of pad work there with trainer Joe Gallagher. She takes on Christian Namus, vacant world title on Saturday night, her third shot at a world title. Can she do it, Adam? Will she do it? We don't really know, do we? Because we don't know how she's going to perform at the higher weight class against a relatively late change of opponent.
Yeah, we saw Chris earlier, and she's big and strong, and she's come over here for her own world title opportunity. But on paper, you've got to say Tasha Jonas should be a couple of levels above her. The question is, can she jump the 3 weight divisions to deliver that? You heard Joe earlier. I don't see Tasha going for a knockout. I think she needs to be very smart in this fight. She needs to be in and out. She needs to use her skills, her southpaw stance, her speed, her distance, her timing. And I could see her becoming a world champion on Saturday night. I think she should have done in Matchroom's Garden in that great fight with Terry Harper. I thought she was just pinned by Katie Taylor in the last couple of rounds. But I think, Andy, this is the opportunity for Tasha. And all I know is that she wanted to become an analyst, a pundit, a commentator on Sky, but she didn't want to do it if it meant she'd give up on her dreams of becoming a world champion. It will be a Cinderella story for Natasha after all she's been through. And as I said, I don't think there's anyone in British boxing who's got a bad word to say about Tasha Jonas. There'll be some celebration on Saturday night if she can pull it off. But it's a big if, going up 3 weight divisions. It's a challenge, and let's see if she's up for the task.
Unsurprisingly, and Joe Gallagher made a little joke there, because we're all weight analysts, aren't we, on Fight Week? Tasha Jonas, she doesn't have to not hydrate, she can eat and drink what she wants, you would think. But it's quite interesting that they said there, one of the big things for her is don't go mad. You don't have to, just because you're boxing at a certain weight doesn't mean that you have to be bang on that weight. Don't give away your advantages at the lighter weight.
I think, Andy, she's better coming in a bit lighter. I think we've seen it a lot over the years with fighters who move up in weight. They come in at their natural weight. They're better at that. And I think Tasha's speed is going to be the key to this fight. And if she can execute the game plan that Joe Gallagher lays out for her and doesn't get too involved, she could be becoming another world champion for Britain.
Dave Caldwell's here with us. So that is it for our undercard. So all that is left is for...
That is it, Dave, unless you want to get in the ring.
In fact, before you go, Dave, I don't ever want to cut you off, but I think we're going to get a chance to quickly speak to Natasha Jonas before we move on to our main event. Here is Miss GB, Tasha Jonas. Tasha, how are you? What a massive event for you. 3rd chances at a world title. We've been here before, I don't want to sort of lay it on too thick, but how are you feeling ahead of Saturday night?
I feel really good. I'm very positive. I couldn't have had a better prepared training camp, sparring partners, everything that we had. We prepared for the best of my opponent, and even with the change, they're still similar in stature, similar height, tall, build, weight. So, I've got to go out there and do my sparring partners justice.
Christian Nama stood where you were just a couple of hours ago, and she cut a very confident figure. She speaks well. She's been a professional for a long time now. Have you and Joe Gallagher, and I already know the answer because Joe is a student of the game, that's an understatement, he will have watched everything he can watch. Are you confident that you have the skill set to beat her?
100%, and like I've said, I've sparred with the best at pros, the best amateurs, and I don't think I could have prepared myself any better for the person that's in front of me. So,
what do you expect from her, though? The benchmark there recently is that she was outpointed by Emma Kozin, who we saw last week. But so much of this is focused on the weight, that there are unknowns with you going up in a higher weight. Are you confident that the sparring you've done and presumably the bigger the ring with that you can perform at a higher weight?
I've spent the last maybe 5-6 weeks, having an optimum weight that I'm going to be in the ring at, and I've the first part of camp is just getting yourself fit from before Christmas. But I've stayed at this weight for that reason, to be able to carry and perform at this weight. And I think I've had a brilliant camp, and I'm sure my sparring partners will say the same.
There's a sort of like a boxing phrase, a loss is only really a loss if you don't learn from it. Those 2 world title fights where you came so close, I think I put to you after the Katie Taylor fight, could you have done any more? And the answer was no. So that must be a pretty peaceful place to be. You couldn't really have done any more. But with those 2 experiences in the memory bank, do you now believe that experience-wise, you've been there, you know what it takes to contest the world title, you've just got to find that extra 1%, let's say, to get over the line? Yeah,
it's all sport is all about small margins. I think I learned from the Harper fight in round 8, I could have finished it and I didn't, and it still harrows me to this day. I think on the Taylor fight, she just nicked, I think it was round 9, just by little flurries and experience of her being in championship rounds, give her that edge. And I took that from the Taylor fight. I thought my defence was good. Everything else was as good as it could be. It was just them little bits of experience, and now I've had them 2 shots, and I've learned from them. Joe will kill me if any of them same mistakes happen.
I'm going to let you go because there's some boos ringing out.
I know, hopefully that wasn't for me.
No, it was more likely going to be for me, but I'll take that one off you. I can see Kell Brook is making his way into the ring.
For February 19th, this Saturday at the Manchester AO Arena. Please welcome inside the ring just now, the former British welterweight champion and former two-division world champion for the WBO Intercontinental and IBF International welterweight world titles and WBC silver white middleweight champion of the world. Please welcome the special one, Kell Brook.
Let's just let that atmosphere ring out. I don't know if that came across, but Kell Brook, there weren't too many cheers. There was a lot of boos, and that is probably somewhat predictable because we are in the Trafford Centre, Manchester. We're not far from Bolton, Amir Khan's hometown. And Kell is the enemy here today.
You know what? One set of combinations on the pads there with Dominic Ingle, and you can see how hard Kell Brook has trained for this fight. Switching it up, orthodox southpaw. It's not going to give anything away in there, but the key for me, Andy, in this fight is how Kell Brook's timing holds up, and whether at 35 he's still got it. I've heard reports from the camp that he's been absolutely razor sharp all the way through. He's left nothing to chance. Dominic said to me late last night that this is the best he's seen him since Sean Porter camp. And look, he's in the Lion's Den here at the Trafford Centre. He doesn't care one little bit. It's a massive fight, and Kell Brook's moment is about to come. This is what he has waited for 17, 18 years, Andy, to prove to people that he is the better fighter. And now he gets the chance.
It's fight week, so everybody becomes amateur armchair psychologists and mind readers, and we're looking at feet and we're looking at weight. How does he look to you, Dave Caldwell, from someone that knows him very, very well?
He looks really good. I like how he sat. You know, when he's shadowboxing, he's sat low. He's planting his legs a little bit more. You know that he's going for power, but he's also throwing his shots with sharpness. Obviously, he's got the weight's come yet. He's got a lot of weight to drop off yet. You can see that by looking at him. So we'll know what sort of effect that takes when it comes to it. But right now, he looks great. I'll tell you what, just watching him get in the ring there, just first bit of pads there, the butterflies are going in. I'm so excited for this fight.
Dominic Ingle just shouting to all the press. Is everybody excited?
Do you know
Dominic Ingle will be loving this, by the way.
Andy, do you know what else I've noticed is the legs? I think his legs look incredibly strong. Look at the calves at the back, the thighs, and I know he's been doing a lot of cycling out of Fuerteventura as well. Legs are key in this fight. Amir Khan has got incredible speed, but the legs have always been an issue with Amir, and I think that's a really good sign that Kell has worked very hard on the legs.
The legs are very, very important, but also, like I said, is once you drop that final bit of weight, that can take away a lot of the strength out of the legs. And if you've not got the strength in the legs, you're not going to take the shots. If you've not got the strength in the legs, your balance is going to be as great, and also you're not going to be delivering your punches how you want to deliver them.
Kell's facial expressions as he's hitting the pads there, he said on Soccer AM, I am going to lose it. My head is going to fall off. He is like a coiled spring in there as he's trying to hit the pads with Dominic Ingle. Look at his expression there. He's chewing on that gum. He won't have liked to have been booed. I know that much. But it will probably fuel him. He knows he's in the Lions Den. He's got the no mercy hat on. I don't think he's playing it cool.
I think Dom's got a real important role in this because he has to keep. You have to harness that anger and that rage that Kell's got in him because you can't tell him to be cool and be calm because he's not going to be. But you have to rein it in, and it has to be controlled aggression, and it has to be calculated. Kell's at his best when he's being calculated and surgeon-like in that ring, and that's how he's got to be on Saturday night. If he goes out like a lunatic, because Khan throws hands very, very fast, and I'll go back to it again. With the weight, I don't believe that Kell will take the shots as well as he was normally accustomed to.
So playing devil's advocate, if weight and stamina and down the stretch is an issue, is he not going to go kitchen sink 1 to 6? If you're going to get this done, have you not got to do it early?
No, because you don't have to in that regard because Khan's not the fresh man that he used to be either. So it's not a case of that, but he can't afford to run onto something big and get wiped out early doors.
The snake, the eel has landed, Johnny Nelson.
So we have to give that some context because that was off camera. Brilliant moment there that Johnny thought that he could make his way to us on this side of the stage, but that he would have to crawl because he would be on camera.
Commando style.
We weren't on that. So it was irrelevant. You just end up commando rolling across the stage here. Brilliant. First impressions of what you can see here.
Cocky, cocksure of himself.
His way to us on this side of the stage, but that he would have to crawl because he would be on camera.
Commando style.
We weren't on that camera, so it was irrelevant. You just end up commando rolling across the stage here. Brilliant. First impressions of what you can see. His way to us on this side of the stage, but that he would crawl because he would be on camera.
Commando style.
We weren't on that camera, so it was irrelevant. You just end up commando rolling across the stage here. Brilliant. First impressions of what you can see. Just watch it or don't watch it. But if you're wondering what we're talking about with people downing glasses of sweat, that's where you can find it. All smiles, Special K.
Kell's got his family.
I can't say that anymore, actually, the special one.
Kell's got his family, his friends there. You know, when you do that, you know, this might be his last fight. Unless he gets another fight with Amir Khan. This might be his last fight. So he's going to enjoy every single moment of it. Win or lose. Because it's like, this is, Amir is the only one that Kell can give it his all 110% for. And I'm quite sure right now, Kell's the only one that Amir can give 110% for. So both fighters, they might think, you know what, I've got the win. You know, I'm done, I'm out of it. Nobody wants to be a gatekeeper, because that's what the winner will end up being, a gatekeeper.
Ben Shalom, from Boxer, just posing for some photos there with a smiling Kell Brook. He is smiling, we all are. Did we ever think that we would get to this point? Did we ever really believe that Khan Brook would happen? Well, it is happening. And it's happening on Saturday night, live on Sky Sports Box Office. I could hear some cheers over my shoulder, so presumably somewhere in this arena, Amir Khan has made his way into the arena. So Amir is, I'm getting the universal signal of pointing upwards. Amir is watching from above us now on this balcony. Amir Khan has been watching. Okay, so we were just hearing there that there is going to be a very quick interview here with Kell Brook for the arena. Terry, Kell's father up there. And he cuts a pretty relaxed figure. Dave, just going to ask you to fill until we get our interview. He looks a pretty relaxed guy there, actually. He looks pretty happy.
He does. Listen, it's fight week. He's been waiting for this for years. So right now he's excited. He can't wait. Just a couple of more days and it's fight time.
Wrap him up in cotton wool. Wrap him up in cotton wool. Here comes Kell. Kell, great to see you on Fight Week. How are you feeling now? You've gone through that little media workout there. 1 or 2 boos for you, but you're all smiles.
I'm smiling. I've done the work. It's playtime now. I've got a hostile crowd. But either way, you know, it's King of the North. Either way, they're coming out to watch us. They've been waiting a long time. A lot of people support Khan. A lot of people support me. That's why this fight's so exciting. That's why you know, they're probably going off like that because we've kept him. Well, I am, but it's been kept away from him for this long. But we're days away now, and can you see me? I'm always smiling. I'm a dangerous fighter when I'm happy.
Johnny Nelson just said to us there, these boos will fuel him. He will love this. Is that the case? If it's cheers or boos, it doesn't really matter. But those boos are going to light a fire.
Listen, this is my 43rd fight. You know, I'm very experienced. I'm used to all different kinds of crowds. Being the first on the bill, being the last on, being top at bill. I've done it all. You know, I've been at top level for a long time. You know, I know what to expect. You know, I've gone through it all in my mind. I've visualised it. I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning most days, and I've got that much adrenaline running through my body. So I'm that excited about this fight. It's hard to go back to sleep, but you know, this is the time where we get the rest in now, get the recovery, get the rest, get the sleep, and just try to relax now. The work's being done. We've just got a bit of talk to do, press conference. We've got the weigh-in, and then it's time for battle.
You've got a big smile on your face. I have to say, I've done you around weigh-ins, especially Errol Spence Jr. when that was a hard weight cut for you. As you stand here now, how comfortable are you that this 149 isn't going to be a problem on Friday?
He's made a big mistake. You know, he's made a big mistake by having me on for 7 months, you know, with a contract. But unfortunately for him, I've been training in that time. You know, that's why I'm smiling now. You know, I'm there with the weight. I could make the weight 3-4 weeks ago. You know, I'm there, very comfortable, very happy with where I'm at. You know, the 19th, it's just there now. And like I said, I'm happy. I'm not putting a poker face on. I'm happy. You're able to see me mood, and now I'm just enjoying it all now because I've done all the hard work, being away from your family at Christmas and stuff. But it'll all be worth it on Saturday night when I've got my hand raised high.
I've got to let you go, but before I do, when this fight was announced at the press conference, you predicted a stoppage. You've had a long training camp now. Has anything in that changed your opinion, or do you still believe that on Saturday night that you end this rivalry by knocking out Amir Khan?
I truly believe that I end this fight by knockout. You know, I've not trained for a knockout. I don't go out, and it's stupid of a fighter to go out looking and thinking to get a knockout. But I believe if I'm 100%, which I am, no lies there, the shot will just come off. You know, and I really do believe that it'll happen at some point in the fight.
I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of fight week. See you later on. Okay, Johnny, just come and join me on my mark there. I'll just relay what he said there. He is 100% predicting a knockout. That's what he says. He says, I've trained for a knockout and I will get the knockout.
You know what? I believe that. I believe that's what they're going to go for. That's what they've got to go for. I was actually speaking to Dave just then. I thought, you know what, you're right. You know, we're talking about this weight issue. You know, if it's tight, pay the fine. Pay the fine, because it's one over the other. Pay the fine if it's tight. Now, right, I know what I think he's weighing, and would it make a difference? If it does make a difference, pay the fine. The fight's going to go on.
Let me just relay what he said there. He said, I'm going to make this weight. Yeah. He said, you don't need to worry about that. He said, would I be standing here now smiling if I wasn't going to make it? He said that Amir has made a mistake by all the contract negotiations dragging out, that he was training behind closed doors, and that he says that he's going to make that weight. When that left foot and right foot stand on that scale on Friday, he says that weight is
and I understand that. But you know what? Pay the fine. Come in a couple of pounds over. The fight's going to go on, because he's double bluffed him. If you're going to try and squeeze me down to this and threaten to fight me, I'll take the fine. We've got a fight on. Pay the fine if it's tight.
There's part of me now that you're making my chest hurt a little bit. I just hope that we don't get there. Truthfully, I just hope that we're not talking about. I hope we're not talking about weight.
That's what I'm saying. But my argument is this: why would you not want to box the best version of each other? And that's what I don't get in boxing.
Okay, but what if the best version of Amir Khan is 147 and the best version of Kell Brook is 156, 157? Where are you meeting in the middle? Everybody's giving up something, aren't they?
Yeah, of course. But you know what? Kell's wanted it this bad. He said, yeah, whatever you want. That's how bad I want this fight. I want to beat the best version of you. You come in this way, and I'll come in my way. So will it be more bragging rights for Kell beating Khan at 147, or what will Khan say? And that, to me, it's going to be a great fight no matter what. But it doesn't go the distance. I'll be very surprised.
Okay, so what the conversation I was having there with Dave Coldwell is that if Kell Brook is at his most dangerous, rounds 1 to 4, 1 to 6, do you think that, without using the words, kitchen sink job was the words that I used, will he be throwing strictly business fights, bad intentions?
I tell you why.
Will he be looking for this stoppage early?
Just remember Amir Khan's fight against Terence Crawford. For the first time, I saw him looking vulnerable because he didn't have that speed that's always taken him all over the world. Now that's gone, I thought, wow. I never saw him looking. That was 2 years ago. And that was the best performance of him against Terence Crawford, because he's in a tough fight now. I don't think he's going to get any faster. He'll probably be slower. I don't believe Amir Khan will be as fast as what he has been, the Amir Khan that we know. So therefore, that's an advantage for Kell. The vulnerabilities for Kell around the eyes. So Amir Khan hit hard enough to damage Kell Brook and make him think, I've got to be a little bit gun shy here. Wrong word, all right, back off a little bit.
So that's very interesting. There are talks about the 2 eye injuries that Kell has had. He has now got metal plates on both sides. And I'm not a doctor, but the fact that he's got metal in there, is that not, if we're focusing on this, can your eyes be stronger? I don't actually know the answer to this, by the way. I'm just putting it out there.
But instinctively, as humans, if you've had an operation around that and you get hit, right, you're instinctively going to react to it. You're going to protect it, go down. Look at Billy Joe Saunders. After everything he said, when it happened to him, he did something that a conscious Billy Joe would never have done, because it frightens the life out of you. Now, that same thing can happen again. The thing is, has Amir Khan got that strength, that punch power to do that damage, or inflict even more damage? And that's what he'll be thinking about, because he's got blistering speed. But has he still got that speed? There's a lot of questions that hover around, which makes this fight so hard to call.
Because if we're playing boxing bingo, I could say to you, well, timing beats speed.
Bingo.
Timing beats speed. Has Kell Brook still got the timing that made him so successful? I'm going to say it to you, like that Ingle timing. Father Time will rob you of that timing. Surely he will. But has he got the timing to do it?
It's going to rob them both. Father Time's going to rob them both. We are not going to get the best version of Amir Khan and Kell Brook. We are going to get today's version, which is the best for them two right now. They'll hit each other more because they're slower.
I saw Ricky Hatton say that.
They're older. You know, so all the wishes, all the corners they cut through their career, payback Saturday night. Because all of a sudden you're going to need that fitness, you're going to need that strength. And Father Time's going to say, oh no, it's payback now, son, for both of them. So they've got to fight tooth and nail. They've got to throw the kitchen sink at it because everything depends on that night. All the successes, your Sean Porters, your Devon Alexanders, all those successes will be forgotten in a second by the majority of people watching it.
During that gloves are off, they were going so heavy on that, and it petrifies me that Kell would say something like, I couldn't walk down the street and lift my head up if I lose this fight. And Amir said the same thing in America. I can't lose. That is an unbelievable amount of pressure to put on yourself.
But to me, that's
As you were sat there, were you
I just like, to me, I thought this will make for an amazing fight, because when you've got two fighters that cannot afford to lose on any level, then you have a good fight.
Yeah.
Then you have a good fight. Remember, and I'm not saying this the same, remember Heigl and Hearns. No matter what, they thought, I ain't losing to you. And it was hellfire for 3 rounds. These guys there will do the same. If Amir Khan can't keep it up and keep that pressure on for 12 rounds, he's going to be blistering for 6 rounds. Kell Brook, if he knows I'm getting peppered, I'm getting caught, I've got to just rough him up. Now, Kell's got to play close to the wind. He's got to have the referee telling him off. He's got to have Amir Khan complaining to the referee. You know, he's got to upset him and make him feel uncomfortable. And then doing it that way, you know, you've got a great fight. But either way, it's going to be a humdinger.
Kell, you have just worked out in front of a huge, very pro-Khan crowd. How does it feel to be in the lion's den?
Listen, you know, as long as we're coming hard, I know it'll be our style. Half of them have got him, half of them have got me. You know, but at the end of the day, we've worked our backsides off to make sure we're in the best possible shape to put a serious show for your guys Saturday night. You're going to get one hell of a show from me anyway.
How do you beat Amir Khan?
Just being 100% me, and that's what I'm turning up to be. 100% me. I'm not worried about what he's doing. He needs to worry about what I'm doing.
Good luck fighting Khan.
Okay, so just going to bring Johnny Nelson back into our studio here.
Kell's still hanging around. I thought he'd escape and got out of here.
He's addressed the crowd there, which is a pro Amir Khan crowd, but you do get the impression that Kell is thriving under all of this sort of negative attention.
I love that when I box.
Did you?
I love boxing in people's back, going abroad, and I mean, you ain't got no friends at all, not even in your hotel. But I love that because it brings the best out of you, because you think everybody's against you. You're paranoid. You've got a chip on your shoulder. So the first time we saw Chris Eubanks cheered for was when he boxed Carl Thompson, and it was like it was odd for him. You know, it brings out the beast in you. So people like Kell, you like this because it brings out the best. What's he got to lose?
But that sort of plays to the perception that Amir Khan is the A side because of his popularity. That was one of the things that we spoke about, wasn't it? Let's just not talk over this entrance here. So we are expecting Amir Khan any second now.
It's packed out. It's absolutely packed out. This is ridiculous.
If you just take a look up the balcony there as well, there isn't a spot available anywhere in this arena. I can see it. I wouldn't want to say how many are here. Thousands. It was one of the fastest selling events at the Manchester Arena's history. The big fight faces, I include you in that, Johnny, are just starting to filter into town as well. One of those is Terence Bud Crawford, the only common opponent for both Amir Khan and Kell Brook, and he holds a win over both of them. But he is very, very much in Team Khan because of the Brian McIntyre, the Bomac connection there.
I don't think that's going to make any difference.
No, I'm not convinced.
I remember boxing, as I said earlier, boxing Carl Thompson, and Naz, Prince Nassim Ahmed had left the gym, and he'd sponsored Carl's team, put T-shirts on them and everything. And I'm stood there looking across thinking, do you think that's going to do my head in? It's going to make me fight twice as hard to give you twice a beating. So for Kell, he'll look and think, yes, I've got a chance to get back at Bomac and Terence Crawford.
former three-weight division world champion, the WBO, IBF, BWBA, and WBC champion of the world. Please welcome into the ring, Amir King Khan!
So here he is, King Khan. What a reception for Amir Khan as he made his way into the ring there. He is the fan favourite. As I said, geographically, it makes sense. We're in Manchester, just down the road from Bolton, his hometown, but let's not get it twisted. Amir Khan is an A-lister. He's British boxing royalty, and he should be treated as such. And on this card, he is the A-side. And he's come with a very large team as well. I can hear security at ringside trying to urge them all packed in at ringside. I can see just a couple of the faces that I met out in Colorado Springs. Jamie Belt, Isao Gonzalez. I can see Brian Bomack, McIntyre, Coach Red. It's a big team. It's a confident team.
World champion, world record 34-5, 21 by knockout. From Bolton, Amir King Khan.
So just out a shot behind our presentation position. Team Brook has stayed around. Team Brook is watching this with eagle eyes. What can be gained from this, if anything, at this late stage?
I remember Klitschko did it with Fury. Fury did it with Klitschko. It don't mean anything. You know, you try and intimidate, you try and bully, you try and... You know, these guys are doing this little bit of whatever they're doing for like 5-10 minutes. You're not going to read anything from that, but you want to show that I've got a bottle to sit here and watch you. I'm watching every move you do. You know, you've not been dismissed.
And that is Bomack, Brian McIntyre. And I did have a real laugh to myself. I saw his social media. The man was in heaven. He's a self-trained soul food chef. He cooks every meal himself. And where did they base him? Just on the Curry Mile in Manchester, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it, and I know that they've been treated very, very well. Great hosts, Team Khan. As the rest of the team just make their way into the ring as well. And I don't think we're going to see as much as what we saw from Brook with Padlock, etc. He's not got his hands wrapped. I think we're just going to see a bit of gentle shadow boxing.
He looks pretty trim, slim. Yeah, you don't think he looks pretty slim.
I think he looks lithe, Johnny, very lithe. Quite surprised, actually. He's been very vocal about the fact that this has been the hardest training camp he's ever had. He's done things that he's never done before. Andy, you were out there with him, and he does look very, very slim to me. And he's obviously, the hand speed is still there. For me, the key are the legs, and Dave and I were talking about it earlier. The legs of Khan and the legs of Kell.
Made his professional debut in 2005, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, from Bolton with a record of 34 career victories.
I wonder what Amir's mindset is this week. I think Kell is, in comparison, relatively easy to read. You can see what's on his mind. You can see that he's charged up. Amir, he's been around a long time. I wonder what his mindset is at the moment.
Amir will believe he has a superiority over Kell in regards to anything public. You know, he's been there, he's done that from being 16, 17 years old. So he's going to go in there with that confidence, that self-belief. So now, you know, like it or not, he's going to struggle to give Kell that maximum respect that he needs to do when you're getting in there with such a fight. But it's going to be hard. This guy spent money on his training camp. He's taken himself away from his home and his family. You know, he's not coming to make the numbers up. He's coming to do a job.
And I have to say, Colorado Springs, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. But it's not a holiday camp. You know, it's Spartan mountain range at the base of the Rocky Mountains. It's not like I don't want to do it down, but it's not like a Vegas training camp where you could half see there's a little bit of sun and entertainment there. There was very little there. He was in camp. He was in an Airbnb, 2-bedroom little place off the street. He was in camp.
One thing I rate about Amir Khan is that he gives it 110% when he's in camp. The problem is when he's out of camp. And so I know when he was with Virgil Hunter was frustrated because he didn't live the life. He didn't want to just train for 12 weeks. He wanted him to train in all his life. and do it all the time. So when he's in command, when he's committed 1,000%. But when he's not committed, he's out. He's gone. He's disappeared, and that's a problem. So there's no point in putting it in for 3 months. There's very few fighters that are that special that can do that. Amir Khan's one of them. Princess Mohammed was one of them. Harold Graham was one of them. That could disappear in between fights and come back and put on unbelievable performances. He's one of those fortunate ones. But time wants payback. So right now, these guys, they'll have done everything right, but they're thinking, right, am I old enough to get the most of everything?
Adam, as we stand here now, this fight will always have its detractors because of the timing. As you stand here now, this has all the hallmarks of a big fight, of a big rivalry that finally is going to come to a head on Saturday in the ropes, inside the ropes.
We've been to Manchester many times, Andy, and the Trafford Centre many times for these workouts. I've not seen it this deep. It's rows and rows of people here. It's absolutely packed up on the balcony. This has a very special feeling, this fight. It's been 10, 15, almost 20 years in the making. The two have been linked together, the names Khan and Brook, for so long that is why people want to see what actually happens when the two meet. And Dave was saying earlier, and I'll ask you again, that moment when they're all out of the ring, Bomac and all the guys, and Dominic, and it's left with the referee and the two of them, and it's like pinch yourself time, isn't it?
That's the moment, that split second when everybody else gets out. Johnny will know what I'm talking about. The big fights, the big nights. This is what it's about, when everybody else gets out of that ring, and you're just looking across at each other, waiting for that first bell, the nerves, the tension, everything. And when who's going to hold center ring, who's going to give ground first, who's going to land the first shot, and who's going to land the first power shot, and how does that react?
You can see the money, the time that he spent on this training camp, the Terence Crawford way of doing it out in Colorado. But Kell's gone to Fuerteventura. He's done nothing but train. No time off at Christmas. He's been there, he's been putting the work in, and it shows how important it is to the pair of them. You don't need a world title, you don't need a British title, you need nothing on the line apart from Khan and Brook and the pride. And for the loser, Johnny, it's going to be haunting.
For the loser, it's over. For the loser, he walks away. For the loser, for years to come, he's going to have... The worst in boxing, you've got a million bosses. It's not like just being at a 9-to-5 job and your boss gives you a hard time that day. In boxing, everybody's your boss. Everybody's got an opinion of how good or how bad you are. The loser is going to have to meet 27 versions of his boss every day of his life for the next 5 years. You were rubbish. You lost to XYZ. This happened. It's horrible. It's a horrible kind of pressure.
Because you've had that sort of thing happen to you before in Sheffield when you had to then go and rebuild. But that was early on. That was when you were young. These guys are 35. They're family men. There's no time.
And as I was a young man, it took me 6 years to get over it. So these guys, to retire on that, this will affect them for the rest of their life. I remember when beating Carl Thompson, it still affects him now, me beating him. So when you're at this stage in your life and you walk out in a loss and the public are giving you a hard time, it scars.
And you two obviously have been much closer to Kell over the years, and the sort of personality that he is and the fact he's been chasing this fight for so long, it's so personal to him, in many ways more so than Amir.
And that's exactly what I was about to say. For me, I get what Johnny's saying 100%. This isn't about world titles. They're both won world titles. They've both made millions of pounds. It's not about money, but it's about pride. It's about being able to look at yourself in the mirror. Kell's been chasing this for years. This means more to Kell than it means more than what it does to Khan. Khan's had that where he's took fights like Canelo where he's kind of like, he knows he's not really going to win, but he's not really bothered. He doesn't care what any of us think about him. He really doesn't. Whereas I think Kell does. I think people's opinions does leave a mark on what Kell thinks. And that's why Kell's got to win this for him.
I know they don't give much away, Johnny, in these sort of workout sessions 3 or 4 days before, but what do you make of the pair of them? Is there anything you can see?
Khan looks very slim, very cool, very, very quietly confident. Kell looks hungry. Kell looks like the young man that was trying to argue with the puppet master in the gloves are off. So you've got two extremes. So both fighters have gone in there.
Anger doesn't win a fight, though. Cool, calm heads do.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't win a fight, so it's a case of which one plays out. Is this a poker face we're seeing with Amir Khan? where deep down inside he's thinking, I cannot afford to lose this guy. I think that is going to tell us so much from round one when the bell goes.
I'll say,
don't they both look loose and light on their feet? I mean, people are saying that this is way too long in their careers. It's way past it. It's not. This is two guys who have it all to prove on Saturday night, and they've trained like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm looking at them both, and whether I'm looking too much into it or what, I look at Kell. Kell looks like he's trained to make the weight. He's trained hard. He looks like an athlete. He still looks like a fighter. I look at Khan, and I know he's not got his top off, but I'm looking at his texture on his skin, on his arms and his legs. He just looks like a normal, an average guy. Do you know what I mean? I know he's not, but physically, he doesn't look as honed and as trained in that respect. He looks older physically than what Kell does. It's different. Listen, it counts for nothing really, but just looking at him like that, I mean, we're getting a glimpse of his torso there. He's in good shape, but it's interesting. It's so interesting.
We did just get a little glimpse there. Amir lifted his T-shirt up. He has kept his T-shirt on, but I saw some of our colleagues in the national press retweet the picture that he had put out. The fight at camp was ended, and he was shredded. No surprise there. You know, he's trained hard. He should look good, but he has kept the T-shirt on today, just keeping it under wraps. So just to keep you in the loop here, what's going to happen, Amir is going to make his way down to the side of the stage where he's going to address the fans on the PA system, and he's going to join us for a very brief one-on-one interview. Promoter Ben Shalom, the man who put the fight together, he's just going to pose for some photos as well. And in the Behind the Rope show, I asked him if you could explain, if you could describe the negotiations in one word, what word would you use? I'm sure there are a number of words that he wanted to say, but he said exhausting. But I'm sure that as he stands here now, he will be delighted that he worked day and night through all the problems, through all the wrangles, through however many drafts of contracts went back and forth. They have agreed, they have signed on the dotted line, and we are here on fight week. Finally, I hear you all say, finally. Okay, Dave. Thank you very much. Just got to take this microphone and make our way over towards the interview position. Amir Khan just being joined in the ring by his father, Shah, as well. That's a lovely photo. Shah Khan, who's been there every step of the way with Amir, even before he turned professional. All those amateur trips where he would have driven him to the amateur gym, campaigned hard for his son. It's been a long and winding road. And what a tremendous attendance we have had today. It really has set the tone for fight week. As we alluded to, it feels like a big fight week. It is a big fight week. The fans have turned out as such. Thousands here today, packed inside the Trafford Centre. All for a glimpse of Amir Khan or Kell Brook. And in that melee, making his way into the ring, is one of the pound-for-pound stars of boxing. It's Bud, Terence Crawford. What a superstar. We obviously featured his fight last time out on Sky Sports, live from Las Vegas, where he beat Sean Porter. He is a superstar, and he's here with Team Khan. Obviously, they share a trainer in Bomac. Amir's just making his way up onto stage. He's going to address the fans.
Amir, a lot of support here for you. Do you have a message for the fans?
Yes, was a big thank you to you all for turning up. Let's go, Team Khan! You came out for me today, so I want a big thank you for coming out for me today. And guys, I'm ready, honestly. It's the hardest I've ever trained. I've never been this fit, this strong, and I can't wait to come on Saturday and show these guys who the boss is.
You're sacrificing a lot, new trainer, training in America. Is that part of the reason why you're so confident going into this fight?
You know, every fight you have to be confident, and I'm very confident because training camp has not been easy. You know, being away from my family, my friends, and my kids, and that's only given me that push, you know, to go out there, motivated me to train very hard. I mean, this fight with Kell has been talked about for a very, very long time, and I'm glad that in 10 years' time we got it made now. It took 10 years, but it's made and it's here now. So we want to give the Manchester fans a great fight coming this Saturday. Thank you.
Amir, just on that mark there, great to see you again. You said that this fight is for the fans. What a reception that you've had today. Just how does that make you feel?
I mean, it makes me feel amazing when you see so many fans from all over. I mean, the noise they're making. I mean, that's like a motivation on its own. You know, you're doing it not for yourself, but you're doing it for your fans. You want to make sure you win on Saturday. These people have come out, left their jobs, and come to see me train. So I want to say a big thank you to you all, man. Big respect.
You kept the T-shirt on today, but we saw your shots on social media. You are shredded underneath there. You said it's been the hardest training camp of my long career. I've inserted long career there, but the hardest training camp of my career. As you stand here now, do you believe that you're ready for the battle on Saturday night, that you are going to win this fight?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've trained so hard. I've never trained this hard in my life, and you were there yourself in Colorado, up in the mountains, training in the mountains, and it was never easy. There was never a day that had easy. I mean, I want to say a big thank you to Bomac and the team, Saul, Red, and also having Terence Crawford here as well. I mean, that's massive motivation as well for us. I mean, he's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. For him to be here, he's also fought me, fought Kell, and the advice he's been giving me throughout training camp has been brilliant, so big respect.
You've been there, you've seen it, you've done it all, but everybody knows, you've both said it, both you and Kell Brook, that all that matters is Saturday night, that rightly or wrongly, what you're going to be defined by is what happens on Saturday night. He stood here only half an hour ago and he said, I will win this fight by knockout. Now you've done your training camp, we've seen all the gloves are off, we've seen all the talking, you predicted that you will win the fight inside the distance. Now you've done the training, has your opinion swayed at all? Do you still believe that on Saturday night, any which way, your hand will be raised in victory?
Definitely. Come Saturday night, guys, I'm going to do you all proud. I'm going to win this fight and win it in good style. Kell's not got a chance. I mean, we worked very hard. And like I said, it's the best American that's going to come on Saturday.
We wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, the shirt is coming up. Okay, just to finish this off, I'm just going to bring Johnny Nelson back. Okay, you've heard it all now from both sides. So I'm going to do that horrible thing. I'm going to do that horrible thing to you. What you've seen today, where are you putting your free bet that I'm giving you?
It doesn't change my mind at all. And for the first time ever, and it'd be very easy for me to say Kell Brook, I have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea, mate, honestly.
No, you're not getting away from it.
Because, all right, if I'm going to put it on last fight, I'm going to say Kell Brook because Amir Khan lost his speed. But Kell got popped with a jab in the eye. You know, but he was doing well for 2 rounds up to that. But I've no idea. I would not put my ass on it. No. I wouldn't even put a 5 on it. So, but it's a great situation to be in.
That is the beauty of this fight, that really we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. What did you gauge from both guys, what they had to say? Amir is he is a naturally camera-savvy guy. He's been around the cameras ever since he was a young teenager. So it's difficult to know. You know, he's never going to give too much away. But even he looked like he was ticking a little bit.
As a fighter, as a pundit, as a fan, I've seen 2 fighters that really and truly believe they are going to win. We don't see that very often. One hustles the public more than the other. I saw 2 fighters that really believe they are going to win, that are going to give it their all. Which then worries me, because it's a case of, are they going to have to, someone's going to have to step in to save them from themselves? Because there's so much on the line here. So I haven't swayed from one way to another. Again, I'm just stuck because I think it's going to be a wicked fight.
Have you swayed at all from the fight, whether or not it can go the distance? Because
no, it's not going the distance.
But you've been a long time now. When both guys predict a knockout, it just so happens that the fight goes the distance. But you would say, leaning towards this one, there's so much spite and hatred that you don't think that either guy would be happy to let it go.
And you know, when you're fighting and sometimes you break and you sort of that unwritten rule where you break and say, all right, let's go. It's going to be bam. There's someone's going to get cut. Someone's going to get warned by the referee. Someone's going to be complaining to the referee. This does not go the distance. There's no way it goes the distance.
That's one thing we haven't spoke about, accidental fouls or cuts.
That's
or
what, you're going to get fouls. You're going to get. But we were taught to cheat on the blind side of the referee. Most fighters are taught to cheat on the blind side of the referee. The referee's got to be on point. He's got to make these guys fight. He's got to be on point, because if he lets anybody get away with it, then the crowd are going to go absolutely mad. You've got two guys that are going to do anything and everything to win.
It will need a strong referee, a strong pair of hands. You're right. Just looking off stage here, I mean, the melee here, there are so many people here. I can just see that the reason for that is Amir is over with our colleagues live on Sky Sports News. But what an attendance today. I think there probably were some question marks when the fight was announced. Do we go to the Manchester Arena? Do we go to an indoor arena? Do we go to a stadium? And you just don't know what goes through people's minds. And you don't know if the fight is going to still mean that much to people in 2022. Well, I think we can answer that it 100%...
I'm sure that was the same conversation when Carl Froch boxed George Groves here in Manchester.
First time, yeah.
The first time. And then next time it was in... You understand?
Yeah,
it
sold
so
course,
well.
Yeah.
It built up that well. You thought, wow, these two guys, if they put on a fight as well as they talk, we can see this again. Depends on the fashion of the win for the winner, but we could see it again. But then you understand, this sold out in a heartbeat, in a nanosecond, so the hunger is there. So if they're going to do it again, as long as the fight's a good fight, it could definitely happen again.
Before you go, your highlight of the undercard, the one that you're most looking forward to. I didn't get a chance to talk to you about the undercard earlier.
I'm curious in regards to Vidal's fight. I'm curious because he's got his foot in both camps. He's talking about it and he's doing it. So now he's doing it, he's going to suffer the consequences of the wrath of supporters. Some love you and some will hate you. And I'm also curious about Fraser Clark, how much of an impression he's going to make on the British scene at the heavyweight. If he can do what he said he can do, within 10 fights, this guy should be in contention for a British title fight, because the level he's at blitz most of the fighters outside the top 5. So one, this is an introduction. 2 or 3 fights down the line, then you should see where he stands in the heavyweight.
We're going to hang on. Hopefully you've not got anything to do this afternoon. We're going to hang on because we are half hoping that there's a chance that Terence Crawford might come and join us. A man that notoriously doesn't want to do too much talking. And like a little inside story, I've never been pied so much in Las Vegas on my last trip with him. So I hope he doesn't remember. Let's see. I might just need you to give your microphone to him, Johnny.
Let's leave.
Yeah, we're live, so this can happen. Going to give you that microphone. Bud, we are live on this camera here.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, good to see you. How are you first? How's the UK treating you?
Doing great. UK is treating me phenomenal. I'm enjoying myself for the little bit of time that I've been here so far. And I'm excited for this weekend.
This has got a big fight feel. Before you came here, and I know that you and Bomac have been in camp, you get the feel from the fighters, but before you came here, did you have any prior knowledge just to how much is riding on this fight, the size of this rivalry? This is something we've been talking about for nearly 2 decades, to put it in context.
Of course. Back in the States, we know how this fight has been, manifesting, and how everybody been wanting to see these two